hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas. An advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. You guys, welcome. My name is Dennis Spurling. And first, I would like to thank everybody for being here. I want to say, hey, you got plenty of other things you could be doing other than hanging out with me, but you are here. So I want to go ahead and get this thing cracking, man. Big shout out to Passport King 77. Big shout out to everybody who's coming through. Make sure that when you get in and you get comfortable, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are marching our way towards 100,000. All right, already. Let's get the hand. Anyway, make sure when you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the I believe it's called the notification button, because if you don't hit the notification button, there's no guarantee that you'll be notified when my broadcasts come out. So make sure you do that. Make sure you hit the notification button. But look, again, let me just go ahead and say welcome to the broadcast. My name is Dennis Spurling, and the name of this broadcast is written across the top. Okay, somebody type hard-headed in the chat room. Somebody type hard-headed in the chat room. Okay, hard-headed, because we told you. Foundational Black Americans told you, and I'm talking specifically to the Africans and the Caribbeans, black people. We told you, and you didn't listen. You were hard-headed. Okay, that's what you did. You're hard-headed. Hard-headed. You understand what that means? That means I can tell you a bunch of times you didn't listen, and now you're learning. You're learning the hard way. What'd you learn? Huh? What did you learn? You learned a lot. You learned that people don't really like you like that. They don't think you special, a special chocolate chip, do they? Absolutely not. So tonight we're going to have a conversation a lot of people have been avoiding. And this conversation isn't about hate, because we don't hate Caribbeans and we don't hate Africans. We are very disappointed in you all. I think I can speak on behalf of most foundational Black Americans, which is largely the reason why we've decided to delineate. Okay, but it's not even all Africans and it's not all Caribbeans. Matter of fact, I would argue that we have much love for Africans and Caribbeans and most melanated people. It's not even an issue. The problem is that you all have not listened, you haven't paid attention, and you here in our country, and the things you do make our life harder. Okay, that's the thing. When you operate outside some expected norms, and I'm not talking about the good stuff. I'm not talking about going to school. I'm talking about sitting on these podcasts and making these inflammatory, racist statements directed at all black people or black men or black women, etc. Then the same people who don't like any of us will take that information and run with it. Okay, you all have fueled the Chud the Builders. You fueled the Nick Fuentes. And Chud the Builder, Nick Fuentes sits behind a podcast. Chud the Builder takes it out to the street. You see how this is progressively getting worse? It's getting worse and worse. And so this conversation, like I said, it's not about attacking Black immigrants. Not about pretending Africans and Caribbeans and Black Americans don't share some racial experiences in America. Okay? This is about truth, lineage, history, and political clarity, because in America, words matter. Identity matters. Lineage matters. And when people don't define themselves, somebody else will define them, usually in a way that benefits everybody except them. And so for years, Black Americans were told to accept a flat version of blackness. Somebody type flat blackness in the chat room. We were told that everybody with dark skin was the same, that all Black people in Africa or America had the same claim and the same history and the same political interests and the same relationship to this country. But that was never true. Foundational Black Americans aren't just Black people living in America. We are a specific people formed here through American slavery, legal segregation, redlining, racial terrorism, mass incarceration, and the American racial caste system. And when people say Jim Crow, they're talking about the state and local laws and customs and violence that enforce racial segregation and second-class citizenship against Black Americans after slavery ended. We're not a diaspora group, okay? Floating around with no homeland. This is our homeland. America isn't just where we live. America is where we were formed. And this is where our culture formed. This is where we as an ethnic group formed. And that's why the term African American no longer works the way it once did when Jesse Jackson came up with it in the 1980s. After the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which is also called the Hart-Celler Act, the old national origins quota was removed. And immigration from Africa and the Caribbean, Asia, and other parts of the world expanded in ways that didn't exist before. The U.S. House of Representatives historically, records explain that the Hart-Celler Act erased the old policy of limiting immigration based on national origin, and the Migration Policy Institute explained that the law repealed the national origins quota that had favored white European immigration since the 1920s over everybody else. And that law changed the meaning of Black America. Before that modern immigration shift, Black people in the United States were overwhelmingly the descendants of people enslaved here. But now, the Black population includes foundational Black Americans, African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, children of immigrants, mixed lineage people, and others who don't all share the same history. And the numbers prove it isn't a small issue. Pew Research said that on March 20th, 2026, that the Black immigrant population in the United States reached 5.6 million in 2024. That's up from 2.4 million in the year 2000. So in less than 25 years, their population is doubled. And so Black immigrants now make up 11.4% of the total US Black population. And the Journal of Blacks in Higher Education, using Pew's 2026 findings, reported that when Black immigrants and their US-born children are counted together, it's about one quarter of all Black people in the United States are either immigrants or children of immigrants. That is a significant number. So when we say Black, now we have to ask, Black from where? Black under what history? Black with what claim? Black with what relationship to this country? And see, that question makes people uncomfortable because that flat blackness was useful. It let everybody step into the Black American spaces and Black American history and Black American culture and Black American politics and Black American civil rights victories without having to pay the cost that created them. This is why you have folk thinking that they could come in and just take over Juneteenth. What does Juneteenth have to do with jollof rice and African celebrations, when this is distinctly a holiday that came about because the Black folks in Galveston, Texas, weren't told about the Emancipation Proclamation until sometime later in June, on one of the 10th, 13th, 14th, all the way to 19th, over here in East Texas. But that blackness allowed people to benefit from the moral authority of Black American struggle while keeping their own national, ethnic, or immigrant identity when it was convenient. So the flags come out when they do something great. But when it's time to reap the benefit of scholarships and set-asides and, you know, hide their illegal activity, that just is left up to flat blackness, and people are assumed that it was just some Black American who did it or failed or did something wrong. And that convenience is no longer acceptable. And that's what I mean when I talk about tethering. Okay. Now let me say this. Not every Black immigrant is a tether. Far from it. Okay. Tethering is when Black people attach themselves to the Black American struggle and Black American success and Black American identity while refusing to admit that they aren't the people who were formed by that specific history. And then on top of that, they have the nerve to be disrespectful to the same group of people or culture. That is tethering to the worst degree. And Black Americans have a problem with that. You have people like Candace Owens. You have people like, well, I'm not going to go into all the names, but you know who I'm talking about. They will sit on these cable news networks. They will sit on these podcasts. They will say horrible things about foundational Black Americans under the auspices, that I'm Black and I can speak for one. I can speak for foundational Black Americans, or I can speak for Black Americans. And their lineage is not even in the United States. They have no knowledge of the culture. They don't have any understanding of the history. And yet they're allowed to speak on behalf of us. They're a convenient choice. Again, let's be clear about something. Solidarity isn't the problem. Respect isn't the problem. Africans and Caribbeans can live here, work here, build here, and you can stand with us as you have. But you can't immigrate into the ethnic group. You can't arrive after the struggle and the claim and the inheritance as if your family paid the same price. You can be Ghanaian, but you can't be foundational Black American. You can be Jamaican, but you can't be foundational Black American. You can be Black, you can be whatever, but you can't be our ethnic group. No different than I can't go to Ghana and be Yoruba. Other thing is, you can't claim victories without claiming the blood. You can't claim Black American culture, Black American genius, Black American political power, Black American civil rights history while distancing yourself from the Black Americans whenever it becomes socially inconvenient. You have people swearing up and down, we are our ancestors. We are not our ancestors in the sense that we're not building or we're somehow falling short. Our ancestors would be extremely proud of us. I know, because many of our ancestors are still alive. Our elders are still alive. And this is why foundational Black Americans are delineating. We're drawing a line, not because we hate anybody, but because history taught us that undefined people get used. Every other group in America defines itself. The Nigerians define themselves, Jamaicans, Haitians, Mexicans define themselves, Italians define themselves, Jews, Arabs. Everybody understands boundaries until Black Americans decide to have some. And then suddenly boundaries become division. Suddenly definition becomes hate. Suddenly lineage becomes gatekeeping. No, that trick doesn't work anymore. The truth is that Black Americans and white Americans have had a brutal, violent, complicated relationship for more than 400 years. It hadn't been peaceful, but as I always say here, there's an understanding. Somebody type understanding in the chat room. White Americans and Black Americans have an understanding. An understanding that a lot of immigrants don't understand. White America knows that Black Americans aren't a passive people. Did you all know that? Have you seen the nightly news? What do they always report? What's the first thing they say about us? They're the most violent. Now, I want to explain something to you. I want you to listen to something. I want y'all to come in tight. The thing that white people complain about the most, that's the thing that keeps them at bay. The fact that we do have a reputation for going upside people's heads. The fact that these young black men do have a reputation for putting them, pulling out the blicky and putting hot ones in you. That's what keeps them at bay. So we're looking at the fact that the unalivement rate is so high in the black community, but I'm trying to help you understand who you're dealing with. That is what keeps them at bay. Passive people don't make it very far here in the United States. Go be passive if you want to. With these Chud the Builder types. That's why we knew it was just a matter of time before Chud the Builder got his comeuppance. Again, white America knows black Americans are not passive. They write about it every night. They swear up and down. They wish, oh, we wish you were more. They look, I'm just trying to help you. This is good game. We resisted through lawsuits, boycotts, rebellions, what I will call self-defense, also through voting, organizing culture, labor movements, and political pressure, but also self-defense and rebellion, of which there were over 300 rebellions in the time period in which we were slaves. And every time black Americans made real progress, you get white backlash follow. That's another thing. But again, we know them and they know us. After Reconstruction, the period after the American Civil War, when the country tried to rebuild and define freedom for our ancestors, the KKK rose up and pushed black people back into a lower social position, had us scared. We fought back. But the first Ku Klux Klan was formed in Pulaski, Tennessee in 1865. The war, I mean, it was still putting bodies in the ground. I mean, it was literally a terrorist organization that helped weaken the political power of the Southern black people and the Republican Party, which was at that time anti-slavery. And by 1870, 5 years later, the KKK had spread into almost every Southern state and became a vehicle for white Southern resistance to Reconstruction era policies that aimed at uplifting black people politically, economically, and putting us on an equal level. And that went on for a while. And then you got World War I. Black veterans came home, demanded, they gave the brothers guns. They said, come on over here and help us shoot these Yazis, these Germans. They gave them weapons, they gave them dignity. And so when the black men came home, the veterans came home, they demanded dignity, and the country responded with Red Summer of 1919. And look, Red Summer, for you all who don't know, is a pattern of white on black violence across the United States in 1919, and much of it directed at African-American veterans and returning from Europe. And, you know, you can go to the National World War I Museum, and the memorial says that Red Summer affected at least 26 cities across the United States. You see? So after World War II, black veterans came home again, and the civil rights push intensified, along with bombings and intimidation and assassinations and mass resistance. And that's the American pattern. Black progress produces black backlash. Black organizations produces a reaction. Black power produces a system of response and response. And now we're watching another version of that response. Race conscious admissions, okay, that have been attacked. There was a ruling back on June 29, 2023. The United States Supreme Court decided that Students for Fair Admissions Incorporated versus President and Fellows of Harvard College and Students for Fair Admissions Incorporated versus University of North Carolina. In that decision, the Supreme Court held that Harvard's in the University of North Carolina race-conscious admission program, which was designed to admit black people, was unconstitutional because they were using racial categories that the court called imprecise, opaque, and arbitrary. And that decision changed the legal landscape for affirmative action in college admissions. The whole point was to try to undo some of the bad things that had happened to black people because of 250 some odd years of slavery, another 100 years of Jim Crow and unfair laws. Least we can do is let them into college so they can learn. At least from there, they can build generational wealth and increase the education level within their household. That's what they were trying to do. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, also called DEI programs, are being dismantled. Federal jobs under pressure. Black workers aren't minor players in the federal workforce. The Economic Policy Institute reported that in 2025, the black employees make up 18.5% of the federal workplace. And another report found that black workers are 18.7% of all federal workers, which includes the United States Postal Service. We know some black people at the post office. Somebody type post office. So when the federal government is attacked, then diversity programs are gutted. And when civil rights remedies are narrowed, black people feel that impact directly. But here's where Africans and Caribbeans are getting their wake-up call. Somebody type wake-up call in the chat room. See, for years, you had some black immigrants thought that they could stay immigrant first. Okay? They could be homeland first while still receiving protection of the black American struggle. And then they thought they could separate themselves from black Americans socially. That's what they thought. They got confident. They thought that they could, well, you know, we're making progress. We don't need those guys anymore. They thought they were still going to receive the protection from the black American struggle. They thought they could separate themselves from black Americans socially, culturally, and politically, but still benefit from the civil rights framework black Americans built. They thought they could say, I'm not like those black Americans while still being counted as black when schools, employers, corporations, institutions needed diversity numbers. And that arrangement is breaking down, to say the least. Now the question is being asked openly: Are you foundational Black American? Are you, before you get our help? Huh? Are you the descendants of the people enslaved here? Are you part of the lineage that built this country under forced labor, then fought through legal segregation? Is that you? Are you us? Somebody type us in the chat room. Is that us? Are you one of us? Before we lay it all on the line for you. See? That's the question. Or are you the immigrant, or are you the child of an immigrant with a different history and a different culture and a different political claim? And see, that question isn't hate. That question is about accuracy. And accuracy is not offensive to people who benefited from, it's offensive to the people who benefited from the confusion. And see, this matters because elite institutions have already been using Black immigrants and the children of Black immigrants to represent Black diversity in ways that blur the specific history of foundational Black Americans. Johns Hopkins reported in 2009 that was John Hopkins, and they did some research by John Hopkins, Syracuse University. It found that a larger share of immigrant Black high school graduates attended selective colleges and universities than what we'll call native Black Americans or indigenous Black Americans or white students. There was a 2024 higher education report that found that 29% of Black students in higher education are of immigrant origin, including first-generation immigrants and U.S.-born children of immigrants. That doesn't mean that those students didn't work hard. That's not what we're saying. That doesn't mean that those students don't work hard now. It doesn't mean that they don't deserve the education, but it does raise a real political question when institutions say they're helping Black students. Somebody type Black students. Which Black students are you actually helping? And that question becomes even more important when we talk about medicine, law, corporate America, media, and politics. And Black immigrants can be highly successful, and many are, but their success doesn't automatically become Black American success. Their achievements don't erase the specific harms inflicted on the descendants of American slavery, and their presence shouldn't be used to avoid repairing the damage to foundational Black Americans. That's the point. You can respect immigrants without allowing immigrants' success stories to replace those of Black American history. Now, y'all still with me? Now, I want to share something with you all. I got some good news. And I've shared this with you all before on a couple of occasions. This is on my community tab. You see that right there? Can you all read that? Black American attorney, following in his footsteps. So this is George Washington Jones Sr. That is my great-great-great-grandfather. He went to Rusk College. He was born in slavery, and he went to Rusk College in Mississippi. Now, he left Mississippi because he was winning a lot of cases, and it started to make white folk mad at him. He won a case on behalf of a Black man against a white man, and they didn't want him in Mississippi anymore, so he went to Nicodemus, Kansas. And he became one of the best lawyers in that county, in Graham County. In fact, he was the first Black county attorney in Graham County, Kansas. And many of you all may remember that name. Nicodemus was founded in 1877. And I, his great-great-great-grandson of George Washington Jones Sr., have been appointed to the board of directors for the Nicodemus Historical Society and Museum. Isn't that something? Shout out to me. And so, funny thing is, his birthday is my birthday is on the same day as his. On April 18th is when he was born, and that's my birthday. Isn't that something? Shout out to the ancestors. And just so you know a little bit about, so this is my real life ancestor. Now, the funny thing is, I didn't know at all. It was I had heard rumors in the family from Mississippi telling me about, so let me explain how it is. So my mother's mother, this lady here, her name was Elmira King. Let me see if I can put this up for you guys. Let me see if I can. Are y'all still with me? Y'all gonna work with me on this? Let me see if I can get this. So this is Elmira King. She's from Casilla, Mississippi. This is my mama's mama. Somebody type mama's mama. We used to call her grandma. Grandma. That's what we actually used to call her, grandma. So she was born Elmira M. King. I still don't know what her middle name is. We think it was Mary based on the census, but that's my mother's mother. And so my mother's mother, my grandmother's mother was the granddaughter of George Washington Jones Sr. Now, his son, George Washington Jones Jr., was the mother of my, her name was Davy Della. Okay. George Washington Jones Sr. was the father of George Washington Jones Jr., and he had a daughter named Davy Della Jones, and she married my grandmother's father, whose name was Frank James King. Now, and Frank James King and Davy Della Jones they had my grandmother, Elmira King, who got married, and her name is Williams. Shout out to all the Williams in the family. So that's a direct line for me. And so they were so happy to find me. And the idea that I share my great-great-grandfather's birthday is just amazing to me. I'm talking to the ancestors, man. Let me tell y'all something. I don't want to run y'all off because I know we got a lot of diehard Christians up in here, but let me tell you something. You should not run away from your ancestors. You should not, let me say this again. You should not run away from acknowledging your ancestors. I'm not talking about getting on here doing ancestor worship. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should not run away from your ancestors. Okay? Sometimes you might need to just burn a little incense on their birthday. I'm not just saying, I'm just saying. I'm a person of African descent. I'm not African, but I am a person of African descent. And we still have that ancestral connection. I know I don't want to run you good Christian folk away. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to get spooky on you. But the ancestors are with us. Okay? They're with us, and they always have been with us. That's why anytime you do something to black people, something happened to you. Have you noticed that? Have y'all noticed that? They keep messing with black people and bad stuff keep happening to them? That's what I've noticed. Make sure you guys, if you learn something, I should earn something. But I know, you know, I just work with me on this thing. Now I actually have a bill of sale where I found the King side of the family. I saw the bill of sale, and I actually have put it up on my broadcast before, so I can literally trace my lineage back to a cotton plantation in Mississippi where my family was sold. And it just has all of them in there. And see, that's the reality that a lot of Africans and again, that's something that they just could not fathom. I have a bill of sale, but when my family was sold, you see? And most of you all can't even relate to that. You have no idea what it's like to say, this is your family history right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Now, remember when I told you that Frank James King was my grandmother's father? Remember that? And see, a lot of you all, and I'm going to just be honest with you, a lot of people claim to be foundational Black American. They claim it, but they don't have the paperwork. Somebody type paperwork in the chat room. Where's your paperwork? Just because you was here don't mean you was really here. And some of you all who were here, your family members own slaves. I want you to think about that. Be mindful of that. So it gets very complicated. Very, very complicated. But this is actually the bill of sale for my family members. 3 former slaves. Can y'all see that? Let me know if you can see it. A relic, 3 former slaves sold during 1850s are still living. A relic of the 1850s is owned by A.L. Pressgrove. Now I'm familiar with that name. That is the plantation that my grandfather and grandmother worked on. Mail carrier of Cali. He was a mail carrier. It is a receipt given his grandfather, James Pressgrove, which acknowledged payment of $5,500 for 8 Negro slaves by Mobley and Elder. 3 of the slaves are still living. Washington King, Mary Crump, Martha Govan of Casilla Route 1, and receipt written with light blue ink, is faded and torn, but it is still legible. The receipt reads, Grenada, which means Grenada, Mississippi, November 18th, 1857, received James Presgrove $5,500 being in full for the price of 8 Negroes, to wit, Sam, his wife, Almira, who my grandmother's named after, okay? It's spelled with an E. And I want you to look at this carefully. See this? Mary, Martha, Frank, and this is my grandmother's father. And Washington, all of the slaves are warranted and sound and healthy in both body and mind and right and title, free from claim whatsoever. And slaves for life as a witness, our hand, seal, Martha, Washington, Mary are the free former slaves. Do you see that? Do you see that? So again, family, what I'm talking about, when I talk about, or should I say, this is where Africans and Caribbeans need to understand America clearly. You need to understand America, race isn't optional here. You may see yourself as Nigerian or Ghanaian or Jamaican or Haitian or Trinidadian or Caribbean first, and that's your right. But the American racial system doesn't care how you see yourself. When the pressure comes, the system sees black. And the police don't stop and ask whether your father was from Lagos or your grandmother was from Mississippi. That racist employer doesn't always separate Jamaican from foundational Black American. That white nationalist doesn't care about your passport story. So when you move immigrant first in a racial country, you may think you're protecting yourself, but you may actually be isolating yourself. And at the same time, Black Americans aren't obligated to erase ourselves just to protect people who refuse to move with us. And we've learned the hard way that unity must have rules. Somebody type rules in the chat room. Rules. Real unity shares risk, not just reward. Real unity respects lineage. Real unity tells the truth. Real unity doesn't mean everybody gets to climb under the Black American umbrella when it's raining and then walk away when the sun comes out. So Africans and Caribbeans, the question tonight is simple. Are you ready to talk yet? Are you ready to admit that Black Americans are a distinct people? Y'all don't have a history like me. Did you just see the paperwork? Did you just see that? You don't have that. You all come from tribal chiefs in Nigeria, and you can know all your different names and whatnot, and all the way back to whenever. My heritage traces back to a plantation in Mississippi, and before that, North Carolina. So are you ready to stop pretending that shared skin color equals shared lineage? Because you don't have a lineage like mine. You will not be allowed to join the Nicodemus Heritage Foundation for Black Americans. It's not going to happen. You're not related. Are you ready to acknowledge that Black Americans created a culture, politics, legal struggle, and a survival strategy that you didn't create, even if you now benefit from it? Are you ready to respect the line instead of trying to shame us for drawing it? That's the question. Because see, the era of flat blackness is ending. The era of vague global Black identity replacing Black American specificity is ending. The era of everybody claiming Black American culture while denying Black American people is ending. Foundational Black Americans are no longer asking for permission to name ourselves. We're not longer apologizing for protecting our history. We're no longer dissolving our lineage into a broad category that everybody can use and nobody has to honor. This isn't anti-African. This is not anti-Caribbean. This is not anti-immigrant. This is pro-clarity. And clarity is necessary because America is changing. The courts are changing. The universities are changing. The DEI is changing. Immigration politics are changing. The federal workforce is changing. And if Black Americans don't define ourselves now, somebody type now, if we don't define ourselves now, we'll be erased inside a category that we built, bled for, and made powerful. So today, tonight, tomorrow, wherever you are, we're going to talk plainly. We're going to talk about lineage. We're going to talk about identity theft. We're going to talk about tethering. We're going to talk about immigrant first politics. We're going to talk about why Black Americans are saying this. Can you stand with us? That's fine, but you cannot replace us. You can respect us, but you can't become us. You can live amongst us, but you can't claim what you didn't build. And foundational Black Americans know who we are now. And that line is permanent. Now, as always, I have some videos I would like to share with you all. Would you all like to see some videos? I will do my best not to talk over them. I'm going to do the best that I can not to talk over these videos, but I'm going to go ahead and get them going. And again, if you learn something, I should earn something. That's my only rule. You don't owe me anything, but I certainly would appreciate it if you did learn something. At least let me know by subscribing to the channel, okay? Somebody hit subscribe now in the channel. Everybody hit subscribe now in the channel. Let me know that you know what's going on by subscribing to the channel or hitting subscribe now in the channel, okay? All right, shout out to K, AOSQ, welcome to the membership, appreciate you. So look, let's go ahead and get these videos cracking. Now, again, I want you to understand something. People are tired of immigrants. I'm just pointing it out to you. I'm not, all across the world, people are tired of immigrants, okay? They're very, very, whether you talk about Europe, whether you talk about Mexico, everybody. I know, isn't that something? The Mexicans are tired of immigrants coming to their country. Everybody wants everybody to go home, okay? And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you have a lot of very disrespectful people who come to these different countries. Let's take a listen to this.
Okay,
Read that.
y'all pause and read that.
I want you to read that. You see what that says? Shout out to my man Fuquan. These immigrants are making fun of us being unalived. This right here says, Sukana, if you feel like Black Americans are dirty, a proud Haitian, you should go. Are you going to talk about Daquan and Johnson, who was killed by the police? He's a Black American man. You see that? So they're making fun of Black Americans being unalived by the police. How far do you think this is going to go? Huh? How far do you think this is going to go? Do you think this is going to cause you to be seen as in a favorable light by Black Americans? Is that what you think? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's keep listening.
This is a comment on the video that I just posted about the Haitian woman calling Black Americans dirty. Look what he did. He thought it would be funny to come on here to make a joke about a Black American man who was just killed by a police officer and a dog. I just seen this man's mother crying
Fair use.
hard as hell this morning. And this is what you want to joke about. This is what you really want to do right now, Jaden? So you want to use some black American man's death as a joke, a deflection mechanism or something? We gonna talk about it, but we talking about it with you right now. Okay?
All right. So do you see that? Now, do you think that causes for people to be more favorable to black immigrants coming in? Because again, black Americans, I'm gonna be frank with you, black immigrants were not really on black American scope. It's not something that we even think about. But the fact that you have so many of these folks with these strong feelings toward, we didn't know that y'all didn't even like us like that. And it's not just it's not just black immigrants in this country. Listen to this.
That black Americans don't think anyone else is black apart from them.
I think it's because black Americans have this very unique experience where they're black culturally and black racially. Like the rest of us in the diaspora come from other countries. Even black Caribbean people who are also descendants of slaves who were just a different boat stop. We still have a culture that's separate from being a black American. Because of the history of slavery and treatment of black people in this country, black people do have that experience where their race is directly tied to their culture. So
All right. So again, remember when I told you all earlier that a lot of black immigrants, they don't understand why we are so fixated on race. Why is it all about race? Because it's a matter of survival here. We live in a country where we are surrounded by people who don't like us per se, okay? And we live in a racial caste system. So we have to be consumed by, we have to keep an eye on what white folks are doing and what's going on with them. Because if we don't, it's a matter of our life. You see, and you see the minute we start resting, look what the rest, look, you all have the reins, the Hispanics have the reins, the Asians have the reins, right? And look what you did. You lost DEI, you lost the voting rights, you lost affirmative action. You're about to lose your 14th Amendment right for birthright citizenship. You all are losing it all. This is what's happening because black people decided to sit down. All right, now let's keep listening. Shout out to Big J.
So when you say black culture, you're associating with black Americans. I used to be confused about it too, because I used to feel like they were trying to exclude other black people in the diaspora, when really it's just an identifier of the culture and their race because they're so closely tied to each other. Like racially, they're able to identify other black people, but it's just that culturally, we're not all the same, even though we're all a part of the black diaspora.
Yeah, I mean, we are clearly of African descent. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to say that we are not of African descent. We're just saying we're not African. And that's a big difference. You can be of African descent. You can be of direct African descent. But I mean, Africa is a continent with 54 different countries. We live in North America, which has 3 different countries, if you don't count the Caribbean. Okay, but 3 major countries, Canada, United States of America, Mexico, and then all those Caribbean countries. So we're North American. Let's start with that. Okay, let's start with the fact that we're North American. Yes, we are of African descent. I mean, yes, it is what makes us who we are genetically. You want to know if you're African or not? Some of you got a lot of folk in here saying, "Oh yeah, we in here. All right, let's go run a 100-yard dash, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out who's Indian and who's of African descent." That's what I'm saying. But again, you got a lot of Africans and people of African descent from the Caribbean. They say these horrible things about black people, black Americans, and then they wonder why they're getting such pushback now. Okay, here's another video.
The Americans are so lazy and entitled.
Excuse me?
Hold on, how did you get in my conversation? But that's on my phone.
You're in my shop, my country. You can take your ass on back where you came from.
Keisha, me call you back. Listen, the only reason I'm in your stupid country is to make money, then go back home to Jamaica. Y'all girls have no ambition. Y'all want to be city girls. Instead of going to school and go look at real work, or to pretend like you got a little business and really selling pum pum. You need to just focus on my makeup, because your life is sad.
That's how they talk to y'all at the shop, ladies. That's how they talk to y'all at the shop. I didn't know they were so rude there at the shop. Go ahead.
What's sad is you can't.
But you know what? Where have we heard that before? Haven't we heard that before? I think I've heard that sort of rhetoric before. Somebody say African Smurf. Haven't we heard that from the African Smurf? Somebody say Black Smurf. Somebody type.
Much. Why did you come to America? Okay, first of all, miss me with that. Miss me with that. Black Americans don't run in America. You don't own or control anything in America besides your mouth. That is the only thing you run.
Y'all, so Black Smurf is saying the same thing. I want you to listen to what else he says. We didn't come here for what? Listen to what he says.
Okay, that is the only thing you run in America, your mouth. You think Africans came here because of you?
No, we don't.
We came here to hustle, bro. The same reason we go to France, Britain, Germany. We go to hustle. We don't care about you. See, we learn.
Okay. All right. So you heard what he said, right? We don't care about you. We came here to hustle. So how can you unify?
Be city girls instead of going to school and go look at real work on a.
Now listen to the little Jamaican lady, right? And I know this is a skit. I'm not saying it's not a skit, but I want you to hear the rationale. Listen.
Is to make money, then go back home to Jamaica. Y'all girls have no ambition. Y'all want to be city girls instead of going to school.
Okay. So again, how do you unify with some people who did not come up here to unify? Their plan is to get their money and go. They're using this as an opportunity. Okay. And that's what you all need to understand. So trying to unify with people that already are saying we're not here to unify with you. What's the point of that? So why is it division if Black Americans say, well, you know what? We're just going to delineate. You all are not really up here to unify with us anyway, unless it's convenient. So why not delineate? Why is that divisive? Somebody explain to me why that's divisive. Okay. Now I'm gonna go on to the next video, but we're gonna would y'all like to hear Black Smurf continue? Let's hear African Smurf.
Out of courtesy. You guys still walk around thinking Africa is a country full of mud huts and mud cookies.
We don't think it's a country full of mud huts and mud cookies. The white man says that about y'all, but do y'all I'm just asking. It seems like it's going down pretty bad over in some parts right now, to me, sir. But I'm gonna put you in timeout because you just out of pocket. But let's move on to the next video. And for you all who haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Take the opportunity now and subscribe to the channel. We need exactly 500 subscribers to get me to 100,000. And at this particular point, we have what seems to be, a lot. All right. So take the opportunity right now and subscribe to the channel. We need 460 people to subscribe to the channel. We have apparently 6,854 people in the channel. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Let's not play this game. Let's see if we go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now, if you will. Please do that for me as we continue forth with these videos. All right. And you learn a lot. People tell you who they are. You should believe them. That's what I was told. Now, here's some other things I find interesting. Listen to this blast from the past. Somebody type self-hate in the chat room.
I want rights in the family. To be honest, if you get a good wife, the way she love them, like I should get a white husband.
All right, so if you haven't read the thumbnail, African mother advising her daughter to marry a white man, stating she wants white in the family. Now, she didn't say marry a rich white man. She didn't say marry a dignified white man. She didn't say marry an intelligent white man. She said any old white man will do. So what I want you all to do for me, I want you all to go down to the local homeless shelter. Okay. I want all my foundational Black American brothers and sisters. I want you to go down to the local homeless shelter, and I want you to find a Matthew or we need a Matthew. We need about 15 to 20 Matthews, and we're gonna line them up, and we're gonna say, are these the type of white men that you want? I want the ones with the teeth missing. Where's that street in Philadelphia where they have all the Matthews hanging out? Or better yet, we can go down to Appalachia, and I want you to pull up to the first available trailer park, and I want you to pull out all the anybody named Buck. Okay, Bob is outdated. I want you to pull out anyone named Shane. I want Shanes and Bucks. If there are any white men named Shane or Buck, I want you guys to hit me up, okay? Because I want to introduce you to this African woman, and you can have her daughter. Since any white man will do, not an intelligent. You just want white people in your family. I'm gonna tell you something. Black Americans, we got white people in our DNA, and that has not helped us. Okay, let me just point it out to you. It's not helped us. Nevertheless, if the standard is all she needs is white skin, we can hook you up with that. We got plenty of loose white people around. I got some white supremacists on follow my page. You know, everybody's welcome here. All right. But you just, all she wants is a white man. That's what this African mother queen, all she wants, all that culture that you have over there, any white man will do. Now that sounds pretty foolish to me. Yeah, Kenningston, that's the street in Philly. Let's go down. I want y'all to pull a school bus up in Kenningston and load it up. Whites only. I want you to put white men only, load them up and go drop them off at her house. And so all her daughters can marry some of those white men on Kenningston. You see how silly that sounds? African mother advises her daughter to marry a white man, stating she wants white in the family. Is that all? Is that all? And you want, this is the culture that we are delineating from that. If nothing else, brothers and sisters, if nothing else, this sort of foolish, self-hating rhetoric is something that we had to get away with almost 200 years ago. We don't want to go back to that. Why would we marry into that? Look, I tell my sons and I tell black men all the time, my preference for them is to date and marry women of African descent, because even though we don't like the culture, we'll take the melanin. We'll keep the melanin, we can work with the melanin. The melanin is magical. We don't want to deal with the culture and the brainwashing, but we will take the melanin and we'll work with that. We'll work that out with the grandkids, okay? Whether she's African from Jamaica, Trinidad, Alabama, Mississippi, hell, pick anywhere in Africa, we'll take the melanin. But this culture is a problem. This is what we have to delineate from. Let's go ahead and finish listening to this African mother queen goddess tell us about how she wants her daughters to marry any old white man. Somebody type Matthew in the chat room. Somebody type Kenningston Boulevard in the chat room, or Kenningston Avenue.
You have to find the right one.
That's just silly. Somebody, this is what we want, right? That's just silly. Who even talks like that in 2026? Okay. Now, let me let me tell you what they really think about you. Here, let's listen to the white folks, since you ought to believe me.
In Africa, right? They have an entire continent. The question is, well, why aren't they African in Africa, right? They have an entire continent. They have many, many countries, something like 52 countries in this continent. And all of these people have nation states of their own, where the government is representative of those people and theoretically is acting in their best interests.
But they're shitty countries.
Well, sure, but that's not our problem. And people wanted decolonization and they got it. So now you have to deal with your problem, right?
Yeah, but those people are the ones who are here, though, isn't.
But England didn't just begin as this perfect model example of a civic polity. We had civil wars. We had centuries of ethnic strife and political strife to get to the point that we're at. And so, I'm sorry.
So in other words, this white gentleman is saying, go be African in Africa. That's what he's saying. Go be African in Africa. This is how they, so, you know, a lot of Africans feel, oh, I'm special. I have an accent and a last name with lots of alphabets in it. I'm different than those black. They don't like you either. Matter of fact, I would argue that they like Africans less than they like black Americans, and they like Caribbeans less than they like black Americans, because they see all of you all as foreigners. At least us, again, we have an understanding. Okay? Largely foundational black Americans, because of our culture, we know enough to leave white folks alone and they leave us alone. You all don't have that understanding, and it's creating issues. But I'm gonna let this gentleman continue speaking.
If you want something similar to what we have, you've got to go through the process. At what point do the English get to exercise their rights to the country and say, we've had enough?
They've had enough. That's what they're saying. They are saying that they have had enough of all those foreigners, and not just the Africans from those foreign countries. Here's another white man telling you how they really feel. This is a white woman saying that she wants her daughters to go get a white man. Any white man will do. Drug addict, uneducated, ticks, fleas, one wooden leg and a kickstand. Any white man will do, right? Let's listen to some more. Let's listen to this.
The international community. What community? A bunch of people going. That's who gives a fuck what they think? Seriously.
This is how they feel. And before you say this guy is an American, this guy is from Canada. He's a Canadian comedian. This is what he thinks. I'm just saying, our friend to the North, America is so bad. The place you all want to run to get out of America. This guy's a Canadian. He might as well be from goddamn Barksdale, Arizona, or something like that. Mobile, Alabama. Okay? Tallahatchie, Mississippi. That's where he might as well be from there.
They wouldn't even have fucking, anything if it wasn't for white people. What is a road? We fucking, like white liberal women in America are like, colonialism is the most horrible thing in this planet. And then in Africa right now, they're like, we would like you to come back. We want colonialism. We like the white man more than the Chinese people.
Okay, so again, and this is for the Africans. So you all think you all are special little chocolate chips, right? And this is how your white zaddy truly thinks about you. And if you all don't know that if you don't think that they know the difference between foundational Black Americans, indigenous Black Americans, or some people call us native Black Americans, they do know the difference. In fact, here's another video explaining what a tether is. Okay, this is white man telling you. Listen to this, because they follow everything we do, so of course they would know.
These tethers, like Byron Donalds, they come here literally one generation in, and they try to just sit around and act so folksy that we're all part of the same struggle and we're all down on and we need to fight against. No, you just got here, dude. Like the Haitians,
the Haitians,
the guys from Ghana who just got here.
The guys from Ghana
here. You don't get to just be a part of our system and then lecture us about how our country went wrong.
You see that? So again, if you all don't think that these white folks, again, Black Americans have been trying to tell immigrants and everybody else that white people follow our cultural lead. Now, of course, white people are the dominant society. They have, they own all the institutions. They run them. They got the money. Okay. But when it comes down to who exactly they're going to follow, they follow our cool. They follow our way of speaking. They follow our language. That's why they constantly try to dance like us. Shout out to Curly Locks. That's why they constantly looking and seeing what we're doing all the time. And so now this word tether, okay, whether you like it or not, it's now part of the political debate. It's part of the political lexicon. White folks have picked it up. Black folks started it. Specifically, I believe Brother Tariq Nasheed was the first one to coin it. And now these white folks have picked it up. And so at some point, it's going to become part of the law. It's going to become institutional. That's going to turn to policy. And so they're going to begin to delineate on our behalf. Again, white people follow Black people in this country. I just trying to say, you see? And so now you have this white man on this podcast. I'm just trying to help y'all understand. Okay. And you don't have the cover anymore that you used to have. So are you all ready to talk? Because you've been hard-headed. Somebody type hard-headed in the chat room. Are you ready to have a conversation yet? Are you ready to have a conversation yet? Or do you still need to keep learning? Do you need to feel the full brunt of what these white folk have in store for you? Or are you ready to have an honest conversation yet? I'm just asking for a friend. Okay? Let's just keep it in 100 with you. Let's look at some more videos. But if you know if it's gone that far, there's no stopping. It's going to keep going. And here's another one. And here's another thing we don't like. We don't like the fact that you all come over here. You know who this guy is. Hey, listen to this. Let me know if you can hear it clearly.
Cooking Jews in ovens, then called a pregnant woman a...
Now, she's talking about Myron Gaines, okay? That's who she's talking about. And this gentleman is a horrible tether.
And conservatives welcomed him to their biggest conference of the year with open arms. Watch this.
This girl's a fat fucking Jew.
Now, this guy right there, if you don't know him, this skinny dude is from East Africa. I believe he's from one of those East African countries. And he's constantly on the internet saying disrespectful things about foundational Black Americans. Now, this gentleman he talks to a lot of, I've never seen him have anybody on there with any sort of degree of gravitas, education. He always talks to people off the street. Now, I believe he used to work for the federal government or something. And I don't even think his real name is Myron Gaines. I think it's like Badu or something like that, some foreign name. He's a foreigner himself. And but because of his dark skin or melanated skin, I guess, he takes it upon himself to say these horrible things about Black Americans. And he's not like a Chud the Builder, because clearly Chud the Builder is white. But this is a clear example of what a tether is. This somebody said he's from the Sudan. Okay. So this is a clear example of what a tether is. Someone who's tethered themselves to the Black community in America and then disparages the Black, reap the benefits of it. You know, he himself is probably some sort of got benefits because they say, oh, well, he'll fill a racial category, whether we're talking about the federal government or entering into college. But he wouldn't even be here. His parents wouldn't have been able to come here, but for the Hart-Celler Act, where we allowed all these immigrants to come in the wake of the Civil Rights Act. Okay, so let's listen to what this young lady has to say about Mr. Myron Gaines.
So the hoodie he was wearing has on it a right-wing anti-Semitic meme that invokes the Holocaust, glorifying the literal incineration of Jewish people in concentration camps. And what makes it so insane...
Let me tell y'all something, family, and I'm going to let this play. If they don't like Jewish people, they don't like Black people either. I want y'all to keep that in mind. So don't fall for that rhetoric. Because I know that online there's a lot of Black people saying, yeah, if they don't like Jewish people, they don't like Black people either. Keep that in mind. All right. So before you go team up with the white supremacists and whoever else disparaging folk of other ethnic, keep that in mind. I just want you to be mindful of that. Let's keep listening.
Hideous is that let 'em cook is African-American vernacular English. And just like they co-opted woke, DEI, and CRT to subsequently weaponize them to mock Black cultural production, they're doing the same thing here with the extra layer of mobilizing Black vernacular to perform anti-Semitism. Not to mention the use of a famous children's character to do it, which is not a mistake. It's an intentional maneuver to make these extreme and hateful ideas mainstream to children. Myron Gaines is the perfect example of the red pill to Fuentes pipeline. He started with sharing regressive sentiments that were fatphobic, anti-feminist, conspiratorial. And as time has gone on, his ideas have become increasingly extreme. So much so that his podcast is now designated by the Southern Poverty Law Center as a hate group. The jump from run-of-the-mill misogyny to Holocaust denial is not as vast as you might think. This is why I always say where one form of bigotry is harbored, others will certainly follow. TPUSA mainstreaming these figures shows that for the conservative movement, being a Nazi isn't a deal breaker. Dare I say it's a prerequisite. So when conservatives scream about anti-Semitism on campus and how much they care about the Jewish community, I need you to understand that's a load of crap. Because if that was true, they wouldn't be inviting people like this into the fold.
Yeah, so that is an example of a tether, okay? That's what a tether looks. Shout out to Fuquan. That's the example of a tether. Someone who's tethered themselves to the Black American experience, Black community, and then says these horrible things about us or reaps the benefit of what Black Americans have fought for and what we maintain, and then have the nerve to turn around and be disrespectful or try to undermine our position. These are the people that we have a problem with. Not everybody is a tether, okay? And I just want to be mindful of that. Not every black person who's coming to this country from an African country is a tether, and we should not lump them all in. It's no different. That's like saying every black person, not every black person is a sellout. All right. And this brother explains it a little bit better. Let's listen to this.
Let's be crystal clear from the jump. When we talk about tethers, we're not talking about all black immigrants. I have to keep stating that because some people like to believe, oh, you're talking about black immigrants. You don't know, we're talking about black immigrants who are tethers, not black immigrants.
Right.
Because we are specifically calling out those who come here with an agenda to undermine the progress of foundational black Americans, those who exploit the sacrifices we made, divert our resources, and sabotage our fight for reparations and protections, who we call tethers. They
are we clear? All the black immigrants who are here, are we clear? Not everybody's a tether, but it properly denote. Basically, it's a foreign sellout to a certain degree. That's what it is. It's a black foreign sellout. Okay.
They come with the audacity to undermine the very community that paved the way for their opportunities. Because we have to understand that tethers, good old tethers, they pose a threat to black American society.
They do. And the reason they pose a threat to black American society is because they can be convinced or cajoled into saying things, this rhetoric, and they have no vested interest in the well-being and longevity of black America. Myron Gaines can go back to the Sudan. Okay. Some of these other people, they can go back to they have relatives, they have family members, they have direct lines of communication. They can go, they have somewhere else to go. Black Americans don't have anywhere else to go. And so we have to be mindful of the things we say. And that's why we're constantly checking each other. That's why we have so many racially disparaging names for black Americans who get out of pocket. We call them trash pandas. We call them sellouts. We call them all sorts of names. You all can name them in the chat room. But we do that to shame them back in line because it's dangerous to let black people go out there and say these harmful things, because what happens is the racist white folk will get that and they'll say, well, he said it, so we can say it. Or if that's what they think, then we should believe it too. And it just makes the situation worse. And that's why we check our sellouts very harshly. But when you have a foreigner who says these things, and you know, they get on the podcast, they get onto these news shows, and they say these horrible things, and it makes our lives hard, which is why now we're saying, hey, you're not qualified to speak for us. We're going to delineate for you. If you see a black person on the internet saying something crazy, the first question is going to be, hey, hold on a minute, where are you from? No, where are you really from? See, and then after that is, you don't have the right to speak for us. Let's keep listening to some videos.
British people slow.
Americans, they don't know where they're from, you know.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it is very, very worrying.
Bro, you have a do-rag on. That's literally black American culture. Sis, you got baby hairs. That's black American Josephine Baker culture.
Look, my thing, why do you black British even care what we doing over here? We don't care what you're doing. We don't care. The only black Brit that we know is Idris Elba. That's it. We don't know. We don't know what you're doing over there. Okay, that's it. We didn't know they had black Brits over there. I had to do some research. So let me get this straight. After World War II, you telling me the Jamaicans took boats over to England to fix it back? Y'all were driving the buses and whatnot. All England called y'all home. They finally called us up, and y'all packed up all your stuff, and you took your black behinds to Great Britain, and you cleaned up you washed their bad children, and you drove their buses, and you cleaned their toilets, and you rebuilt all their buildings, and they still treating you horribly. And you have the nerve to talk bad about us. They acting like they want to deport you now. See what I'm saying? You got fooled again. They put you on a boat and sent you over there. And then they got some more boats and brought you to England, and now they want you gone. Have you not learned? They don't like you. But why would you bring? We don't care what you're doing over there. We don't care. I think I can speak on behalf of most foundational Black Americans. When we think about Britain, that is not on our itinerary of life, of vacations. We do not want to see Big Ben. Okay, we heard your food is bad. You all are rude, and it's cold and ugly over there. The only thing I know about England is Sherlock Holmes and what's the Düsseldorf? What's it called? Dumbledore? What is that? What's it? Harry Potter? That's it. That's all I know. We are not interested in going to your little island to see anything you got going on up there. Why are we on your minds? Why are we? You all aren't even from Britain anyway. Y'all are from Africa and the Caribbean. That's where you're from. You're not even Britain. Your ethnogenesis was not in Great Britain. Your ethnogenesis was somewhere in Nigeria or Ghana or some colonial country in Africa, or Jamaica or Trinidad or something like that. Our ethnogenesis is here in the United States. I can call myself an American. You can't call yourself English, can you? No, you can't. You can say you're a citizen of the UK. You can even say you're a citizen of England, but you can't say you're English, can you? See, I can say I'm an American. I might say I'm a Black American or a foundational Black American, but I am an American. You are not English. The English will say you are not English. You go over there talking about, yeah, let me get a Black English. Was that a drink? Is that what you want? I'm just saying. We are not the same. Y'all mind your business and we'll mind ours. Let's keep listening.
Is y'all slow? Black Americans have no culture when y'all literally are our culture. Every singer, black and white, Dale, Amy Winehouse, are inspired by Black American singers. All y'all actors come to America to act like us. I ain't going to the movie, but they is. Y'all terrible British rappers, all from our culture. I really despise these people. I'm telling y'all.
I don't even know enough about the Black British to despise. I don't even know why y'all even talking about us. I know y'all got a big airport. Heathrow, that's it. I went over there and hung out. It's cold, the food was bad. I don't know. Everything was expensive. That's all I remember. That's it. Where's the culture? If you all have to come over here to get jobs, and look, if all these British actors that you got to come over here to play slaves, you all don't have your own industry. We carved out our own music industry, our own movie industry, and you all come over here to the United States and infiltrate. You fake an American accent from New York. You're from Bronx. You tell my God, today. That's how you really talk. I mean, do it yourself. You reap the benefit from the same culture you say doesn't exist. I'm just saying, family. I'm just saying. We don't think, I don't know. Where are y'all even coming from? You are not even a blip. You are not a gnat on a fly's ass. You're not, let me say, you're not the gnat on a cow's ass that we even think about. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't even know why you all interjected. You just want some attention or something. I don't understand. Why are you even talking to us? We have bigger fish to fry, a big old catfish to fry, and you all are like a little bitty minnow. Oh, you just want some attention. That's the only thing. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, the other thing these foreigners bring to the United States is they bring this divisive African culture when it comes to skin color. Okay, light skin, dark skin. We'll banter back and forth here in the United States, but when push comes to shove, we are all Black American. We don't distinguish ourselves, whether you are a Marvin Gaye or a Smokey Robinson or Martin Luther King, whatever your skin color. But see, you all come with that colonial era colorism. Let's look at this.
speak on the one drop rule?
Now, we have to share space now, sometimes conditionally, with white presenting black women who, because of racial identity being
white presenting black women. All the foundation of Black America, white presenting black women. Some of y'all grandmamas was a white presenting black woman, wasn't she? Wasn't she? Some of your daughters are white presenting black women. So what she's trying to do is say that this African lady is saying that black American people who come in a range of colors. Did you see my grandma? Look at my grandma. She looked light skinned on that, but she had a makeup on. She used to have a little makeup from Sears and Roebuck. But anyway, my whole point is this is the colorism that they're bringing. All the black women, light presenting black women. I want y'all to listen to what this foolishness is going on.
ambiguous, have the curly hair and the white phenotypes, but because they're 3% white like Mary from Sinners, we gotta call her a black woman even though she ain't done none of the shit that we've had to go through, right? So black women are already tired.
Are y'all hearing this? She ain't got to go to none of that stuff. Black women. So you all are not real black women according to some of these foreign black women. So this is the divisive. This is divisive. This is what they bring. This is why we are now delineating. We don't want to be. We want to be foundational Black America. Y'all can keep being Ghanaian and Nigerian and Trinidad. We're going to be foundational because we like our people. Whether we're talking about a Joe Frazier or Muhammad Ali, they both were black. So we both get to be champions. You understand? Let's keep listening to this hot mess and foolishness.
From the word black woman being diluted with whiteness because of white supremacy.
Blue is a Haitian American, and in Haiti, the one drop rule is non-existent. Like, if you were of the lighter skin tone, there's no such thing as a woman like Mary from Sinners being considered black in Haiti. Like, that is non-existent. It's not happening. Now, when Siraj Bertine was selected to represent Haiti in the Miss Universe pageant, some people were upset. They thought she was too light-skinned to represent Black Haiti.
To get that. And I'm already sharing space with the white bitch because she got a curl pattern, right?
I mean, again, this lady's from Haiti. Why are you coming up here with your divisive, colorist rhetoric? We don't need that. We don't come from a country where we're surrounded by other black people and we have the luxury of dividing ourselves up by religion and race and color and skin texture. And we don't have that luxury. They will slaughter us all. The only reason you all won the Haitian Revolution because it was 500,000 of y'all against a tiny number of Europeans, and you had some Europeans helping you. This is the wrong culture to bring that to. We don't divide ourselves up by skin color. You could have the same daddy and the same mama, and the kids come out with whole different skin tones and colors, and depending on the time of year. And whether or not you working in the house or out the house, you could be the same color. We don't do that here. Don't bring your divisive, colorist, racist, anti-black rhetoric up here. We don't need that. If you are founded, that's why lineage is more important. Lineage. What is your lineage? Not your skin tone. We don't want to hear all that, man. And this is the problem. This is why we did somebody type delineation in the chat room. You white presenting black women? The hell are you talking about? What so you saying that all those black women who were taken advantage of and gave birth to black children, are you saying that all of them were white presenting? They knew they were black. Slave master knew they were black. Everybody knew they were black. The slave auction knew they were black. So what do you mean your experience versus her experience? You from Haiti. Your people are from Haiti. Go back to Haiti. Why don't you have all that smoke for them Dominicans down there that's whooping y'all butt? The Dominicans sent 500 Haitians back to Haiti. Why don't you go down there and fight them Dominicans? That's what you need to do. You go fight your island neighbor instead of coming up here to the United States of America with all that foolishness. That's what you need to do. We don't need that level of divisiveness. We got white boys running around Tennessee calling us N-words and trying to pump us up to get shot. And you got fools, and who's entertaining this? Why wasn't this shut down? We don't do that here. We don't divide each other up. If I see a black man, light, bright, damn near white, black as midnight, and you think I'm gonna stop and say, oh, he's light skinned, or he's dark skinned. We ain't to say that's just stupid. We don't do that here. And this is part of the reason why we reject the Caribbean culture and that African culture. It does not work here. We don't have the luxury of dividing ourselves up by class, by skin color, by religion, by skin complexion, by hair texture. We don't have, by education, we don't have the luxury of doing that. We are surrounded. We are a tiny percentage of Black people. We are a tiny minority in this country. And we don't have the opportunity to do that. We don't have the luxury of being able to do that. You can do that in Haiti. You all have the numbers. You can do it in Ghana, Nigeria, and Trinidad, and all these other places where the Black people run the country and you're the dominant ethnic group. We can't do that here. They will eliminate us. But we'll let this young lady keep talking.
Like, I'm tired. When do y'all just get to admit that this thing, this cis-het Black woman thing, this racially unambiguous Black woman thing, only I have truly experienced it like this?
Blue is correct. In Haiti, her and my great-great-grandmother would be two different racial categories and therefore a totally different experience. But in the United States, my grandmother, as fair as she was still a Black woman. Both her parents were born enslaved. The United States just has a very different history when it comes to Blackness. Civil rights leaders like Kathleen Cleaver or Diane Nash would not have to fight for Black rights in other countries because they wouldn't be considered Black. Let's be clear, Blue, of course, is going to have a different experience in some respects than a woman with a lighter tone. My mother has always told me that she never wants to take up space, and she always makes it clear that she knows that she has a different Black experience than someone with a deeper complexion than hers. So I believe that the one drop rule conversation should stay within the Black American community.
What the hell is one drop any goddamn way? I don't know what one drop is. That is a term that's like 300 years old. Can we upgrade the terminology? Can we just, I'm just saying. I don't want to interfere with this brother speaking, but I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just pointing that out. I think it's stupid. I think it's ignorant. And again, we don't have the luxury of dividing ourselves up like these other folk do in these other countries. In their countries, they ethnic group, the Black or African descent, that ethnic group is a dominant group. We are, if you take out the foundational Black, if you separate the foundational Black Americans, who are about 45 million, from the first and second generation immigrants, who are about 25% of that. Okay, that leaves you with about, I don't know, more or less 33 million Black people out of 400 million. That's less than 10% of the population is foundational Black America. We don't have the luxury to do that. Get these people up out of here. I'm gonna let this brother finish speaking, but I'm just saying. Well, I'm not going to let him speak, and I'm going to move on to the next one. You guys, the other thing is, again, you got poor white people. A lot of these immigrants are anti-Black, and I'm going to let this lady go ahead and speak on that, and we'll get back to the video here.
The anti-Blackness directed towards Black Americans from foreign people of color derives from jealousy. See, to be Black American is to be marginalized and disenfranchised, but from a foreign perspective, you're marginalized and disenfranchised in America, which is the best place to be marginalized in, from a foreigner's perspective. I am from a foreign family. I've said this before and it bears repeating. My family is Jamaican. I'm mixed race. I was born in Montego Bay, Jamaica, emigrated to the United States when I was 5, and I am now a naturalized citizen. So in addition to growing up and being socialized in America and matriculating through the American public education system and the university system, I have that lived perspective in addition to the lived perspective of being raised by foreigners. Like, a lot of the opportunities for advancement, for job placement, for obtaining a formal education that are here in America, that exist in America, are of course taken for granted by American citizens who are born here. These opportunities are unheard of in most parts of the world. For example, in Jamaica, the opportunities for employment, right?
At least she's being honest, right? At least she's being honest and telling us the truth, right? You're telling us the truth. But you know what I got to do right now? I need you all, because we got a lot of people in here, okay? A whole lot of people in here, and I need you all to understand what needs to happen right now. Okay, what needs to? We all know what needs to happen right now, don't we? Do we know? Have you all done your job? Have you done what you're supposed to do today? That's the question. Can you see my eyes? I'm looking at y'all. This is how your school teacher look at you when he saw you in the back cheating. You're cheating. You're cheating me out of what I deserve. And what is it that I deserve right now? Huh? What is it? Huh? What do you think is about what we need to talk about? That's what I need you all to understand. I need y'all to make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Let me see what my subscriptions look like. We ain't taking a break. But you all need to go ahead and are you learning something? If you hadn't learned anything, you just hard to teach. But if you learn something, I should earn something. But in the meantime, I need y'all to make sure, apparently YouTube took 20 of my subscribers away for whatever reasons. I need you all to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel right now. Take the time to subscribe to the channel. I'm checking to see what my subscriptions look like right now. I need you all to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You'll never get another person as bold as me. I need, I need approximately 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. I need 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. Okay, so take the time and hit your little button and subscribe to the channel right now. I know you hear me. I know you hear me. I know. I'm looking at you. You right there. You with your phone like this on the side of your face. I'm looking you in the pickup, you in the truck with your phone down there listening to me in your truck. You riding across the country. Yeah, you. I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. Don't play. All right? Go ahead. Go ahead. You sitting in there ignoring your girlfriend, listening to me, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Everybody who have something else to do and you sat up here and decide to listen to me with your earphones on, subscribe to the channel right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Is he talking to me? I'm talking to you. You with the shirt on. I'm talking to you right now. And I'm talking to you too, lady. I'm talking to you with the bonnet on your head. All the women with bonnets on your head. Every woman with a bonnet on her head, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. All right? Fellas. All the fellas with crusty feet, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. I need my crusty feet crew. All the brothers that have not put lotion on their feet and they got ashy ankles, I need you to subscribe to the channel. All the white supremacists who are waiting around for me to get the black committee to issue an official apology, I need y'all to hit the subscribe button now. Go ahead and do it. All the angry Muslims, all the angry black Muslims, I need you to come in here. I need you to subscribe. You need to hear this. You need to come on up in and hear this. I need 6 more people to subscribe to the channel right now. All you angry, come on. Come on now. Don't run from it. Don't just be happy it's not your day. Just be happy it's not your day. I'll be on them. When people die, I give them their day. Haitians, they caught hands last week. The poor Haitians, they was like, what are you doing to me? We are doing. Yeah, I caught hands. It's not your day today, baby. Subscribe to the channel today. Go ahead. We need 5 more people to subscribe to the channel, and I'll get back to work. I need 5 people. Out of 600-700 of y'all, I need 5 folk. You send this to a friend. Send this to your Muslim friend. He about to do his hadith. He over there, talking about don't eat pork. I send him this. Next time you say, that's why I've been eating them pork rinds in front of you right now. I didn't know. Yeah. I need 5 people. All I need is 5 people to subscribe to the channel, and we will be at 92,000. Okay, I need 4 people. Don't hate watch. You're not going to sit up here and hate watch me. You're going to subscribe to this channel. 3 people. I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel. I need 3 more people. Look where we at. I want y'all to see where we at. Okay? See that? See, you can't see. It's almost, I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel, and I get back to work. I got more to say. I'll talk to you. 2 people. I need 2 people. I got 598 people. Subscribe to the channel now. One person. I need one person to give me the 92,600. And I get back to work. I'm going to get back to work as soon as y'all give me my 92,600 people. There we go. Praise God. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now let's get back. Let's get back to where we at. I'd like to thank all the crusty feet people, all the ladies with bonnets on. Okay. I'd like to thank all the angry Muslims, all the white supremacists. Everybody's welcome here with Uncle D, baby. Everybody welcome to get this work. Uncle D is passing out the truth over here. I'm here to hurt your ears, make you feel bad. Yeah. Next time they tell you don't eat that pork sandwich, brother. You know you worshiping the damn racist ass religion. You got that brother-in-law trying to, yeah, man, when you gonna come down to the mob? You know you're racist, man. But anyway. All right, yeah. Shout out to all the people with swollen knuckles because they got bad medicine, okay? Shout out to all the people that forgot to put their diabetes socks on last night so their feet are swollen. Shout out to all the people with a hangnail. You got a hangnail right now and it hurts, okay? Hit me up, right? Hit me up on the subscribe. I need you to do that, okay? All the brothers out there with an uneven hairline, like mine. See one side, see this side, go back a little further. All the brothers with I know we got a team. Shout out to all the brothers with the uneven hairline. I know y'all in there. Don't lie. I know you're there. I know you're there. Okay. Shout out to all y'all. Okay. Shout out to everybody who you know, you subscribe to the channel. You've been here for a minute. Appreciate that. You winning out here, baby. You here with Uncle D, baby. All right. I appreciate that. Now let's get back to the video footage because that's the most important thing. This is the part where I get to speak and say crazy things about that y'all actually want me to say these crazy. That's what I find hilarious. You all want me to say these crazy things, and then some of y'all say, don't say nothing, let them talk. Then you want me to say the crazy things. So let's go ahead and get back to the video footage. And you know, I'm gonna let it keep talking, baby. Let's go to this one. Hit the number 1 button.
Showing cultural self-esteem. You can't bait me into diaspora wars. You can't get me to dislike black people from other places because they have different experiences than me.
We don't look. I don't know what this young lady is talking about. I don't dislike black people from other places. I like black people from everywhere. I just don't like the black people that come to the United States and say bad things about the black people who are here in the United States and have been here since the end of slavery. Okay, that's the people that I have a problem. Why would you go to someone else's house and speak ill of them and say bad things about them? Why would you do that? See, that's the thing we don't like. Don't fault us for now speaking up and say, hey, we don't like what you're doing in our house. You're making our lives difficult. Let's start with that. Don't just try to, it's not even. It's not we said something to them and they said something to us. Black Americans have been cool. We've been open and accommodating. We eat your food, we hang out with you, we treat you like family. We've been intermarrying and marrying in relationships with folks all over the diaspora, but it's like, damn, at some point, you all are getting beside yourself. Now you have like 25% of the Black American population. You all are starting to talk a lot of stuff. You getting out of pocket. You see, your crime is up. Nobody's actually done a study of that. We haven't delineated the crime stats yet. I've done a little bit of it. But unfortunately, Black Americans get blamed for a lot of the issues that have nothing to do with us. We're tired of it. But I'm going to let you go ahead and finish talking.
I'm a smart person. You can't do that to me. Do you see how that works? I'm a culturally informed person.
So my question is, where are you from? What kind of person, where are you from? That's what I'd like to know. Where is your heritage? Which island are you from? That's maybe, which continent are you from? Because see, now, if you can't understand clearly what the problem is, maybe it's because you don't want to understand what the problem is. Maybe it's because secretly you trying to pretend like you understand what you're trying to seem reasonable. But you just really don't want this backlash coming from foundational Black Americans, because remember, it was not a diaspora war until Black Americans start saying, hey, if you guys are going to put your flag up, we're going to put our flag up. And we're going to make you stay on your side of the fence. See, it wasn't a diaspora war till we had to clap back. Somebody type clap back in the trap back in the chat room. Till we start clapping back, it wasn't a problem. See, 60s went by, the 70s, the 80s, the 1990s, the early 2000s. And so now here we are, we saying, hey, hold on a minute. Because I start feeling it around about 2010. But it was a novelty. Nobody wanted to talk about it. But now here we are in 2026, it's full swing. So it wasn't a diaspora war till we had something to say in response. But I'm gonna let the little lady finish speaking.
I'm a socially informed person. I'm mentally fit. You can't do that to me. And the more of us that are mentally fit, culturally fit, they can't force us to do their handiwork for them.
So what you're trying to say is anybody who has anybody who is delineating, or anybody who is saying, hey, you can't talk to us like that, we're what? We're stupid? Because that's what all that translates to. You think we're stupid? We're culturally unfit? Is that what you're saying? How about we just love ourselves? We had a whole movement here in the United States called Black Pride. This is where the Black Pride started. We had songs about Black Pride. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. And so now we thought you all were 100% with that. And then you come over here and okay, you great. It's great that you fly to your nation, but you're in our nation now. And so you were not going to let you sit here and speak ill about Black Americans. That's crazy. But let's keep listening. Let's keep on listening.
Like, skip to the part where you know. Stop trying to find arguments where there aren't arguments. At the end of the day, when it really boils down,
it's hard for me to take you seriously because you got a bunch of nose rings coming out your nose and a bonnet on your head. That's what I'm saying. But I'm listening, okay? At the end of the day, you should take them nose rings out if you want somebody to take you serious. But shout out to Fuquan. Let's keep listening. Somebody type nose ring in the chat room.
I'm not going to spend the majority of my time fighting you. That's dumb.
We ain't fighting, baby. We delineating.
Stand up. Stand up now, actually.
No, we delineate. We don't need to stand up. We're resting. As a matter of fact, y'all stand up. That's what you do, little lady. You take those nose rings out before you get a sepsis infection. That's what you need to do. You around here talking all that stuff about what you're going to do. That's what nose rings. Nose rings need to go the way of the Jerry curl. Okay? Somebody type Jerry curl in the chat room. Somebody type nose rings and Jerry curls. They need to go the same. They need to get out of here. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? Because they say too much without saying much. But let's keep on listening. Let's keep listening. Listen to another one. Listen to what this brother has to say. Since we talk about delineation and
You see a black person at the airport. Oh, brother. No, I'm not your brother. What's wrong with that? Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you gone to Europe and you had an Italian man calling a German brother? Fuck them. What's wrong with me seeing you at the airport? This is the problem. Right, explain it to me then. I don't have anything in common with the 49 other people in my country. Nothing in common. They speak a different language. They have a different God, a different religion, different food, different forms of wear and culture, traditions, and customs. He's not my brother.
You hear what he's saying? You hear what he just said? I know he's speaking fast, but this African dude, I think his name is Frank Zanunu or something like that. What's this man's name? Frank Zane or whatever his name. He's saying, you can't be my brother. We got a different culture. We have a different language. We're different. So why is it divisive when foundational Black Americans, indigenous Black Americans, FBA, the Salon people, why is it divisive now that we're saying, hey, you know what? You're right. We are different. Why is it an issue then? Well, it's an issue because they want to be able to integrate into our culture when it benefits them. That's why. Okay? As long as we had a open door policy and we just let people come and go when they chose to, come in, get all the resources you want, and then when you become a success story, then you can leave, and your flag is whipping out on the way out the door, no problem then. But the minute we start saying, hey, hold on, we start gatekeeping, because that's what's going on. Black people have closed the door, okay? And they said no admission, nothing. Unless you have the proper credentials, you can't come in. And now they have a problem with that. Let's keep listening to the brother speak.
Now you're asking for a global brotherhood of all black people. Why would the black people be different from any continent? Europe is a global community of white people. And they don't go around saying brother and sister. Asia is a community of all yellow Asians in Asia. They don't go around calling each other brother and sister. Same with the Middle East, same with everywhere. Well, only when it comes to black people, you think we're all the same. We're not the same.
We're not. Thank you. Okay, my kinfolk are those who are ideologically similar, not color similar. Skinfolk does not equal kinfolk, and my brotherhood is relegated to those within the body of Christ.
Praise God. Somebody type hallelujah for him. I don't know if the white folk agree with you. They have something called white nationals, sir. I may have to have a whole conversation about that, sir. I'm gonna put you off to the side. We may need to talk to him about that. But let's go ahead and keep listening to the video footage and see what else they have to say. You guys enjoying the broadcast? If you're enjoying the broadcast, let me know you're enjoying the broadcast by hitting the like button. Okay. Let me know you're enjoying the broadcast by hitting the like button. All right, let's get back to work.
An African dude said some disparaging things to me because I'm Black American. Those Africans don't like us. Stop. It's just anti-blackness. It's just anti-blackness. White supremacy, imperialism, colonialism is a global project as political ideology, as a philosophy, as a pseudoscience. All black people are affected by it. None are immune to anti-blackness. Anti-blackness is not like more heinous just because it comes from a nigga from Senegal or Jamaica. The goal is to separate you.
We can't say that word on this family-friendly broadcast. Somebody type family-friendly. He said that we almost made it through the broadcast without one profane name or racial epithet. We almost made it. Isn't that something, y'all? We almost made it. And here you came, you to look too mild-mannered to be saying the N-word, sir. Let's watch that. Somebody type family-friendly so I can counteract the algorithm. I'm trying to keep this monetized, sir. Okay? I'm trying to keep this monetized. You watch that language, sir, young man. Let's keep going.
As much as possible from other people who look like you, who might serve your best interests. Is it a perfect relationship? No. But the main issue and problem is probably anti-blackness. I'm Black American. I'm proud to be Black American. We did a lot of cool stuff. I can be proud of being.
We still do a lot of cool stuff, sir. We didn't did a lot of cool stuff. We still do a lot. We are the richest group of black people on this planet, sir. We still do. We make it easy for these other people to land their helicopters over here and set up shop. We are the reason that these white folk don't. We are the reason that these white folk don't whoop up on these people and get them up out of here. You didn't know that, sir? You didn't know? We are a cool group of people. We still don't count us in the past. Okay, our ancestors will be proud of us and our success. Because little as I have ancestors, and I can tell you, as dysfunctional as we think we are, they were pretty bad too. But they managed to do what they had to do, because the culture is still intact. They still came together and did what they had to do. You ever heard about all them juke joints? I bet y'all don't know who y'all. I bet y'all didn't know y'all great granddaddy had a whole nother family across town until the funeral. I bet you didn't know that. You don't think that was dysfunctional? I'm just saying. We got a lot of baby mamas now. We had a lot of baby mamas back then too, but we made it. We still own land and built houses and went to church and raised our children, served in the military, paid our bills, minded our business. We still made it, didn't we? I'm just saying. You know what the juke joint was? When your granddaddy and them went down to see what Pearly Ann. I know your grandma. Tell about Miss Pearly Ann. Skank. Goddamn Miss Pearly Ann. Skank. What's the skank in your look, lady, fellas, anybody? I know that you've heard about that skank that your grandmother didn't like. Okay, that floozy. I know y'all know who I'm talking about. She would mention her, and she You know, if her teeth wasn't in her mouth, it'd make her angry just to hear her name. Because granddaddy, Pawpaw, was around there messing with her. Huh? That's, you know who I'm talking about. Probably something like Linda Ann or something like that. Or Mabel Jean. Mabel Jean was the town floozy. Okay? So there's some dysfunction going on back then too. Mabel Jean, huh? Mabel Jean from on the other side of the holler. Mabel Jean, y'all know. Go tell your grandma, who is Mabel Jean? And make a little face frown if she be reaching for blood pressure medicine. Don't talk about Mabel Jean. Y'all know just who I'm talking about. Miss Jenkins. Your husband, grandpa spent a little bit too much time over there fixing Miss Jenkins' plumbing. He over there with the pipe in hand. Over there at Miss Jenkins' house. Mabel Jean, y'all know what I'm talking about. So again, we always try to discount where we are now as foundation of Black Americans. But good look, nothing's perfect, but we're doing fine. And the reason I know is because I talked to old people when I was little. It's all I hung around was old people in the 60s and 70 years old, and they told me how things were back then. You don't know about, have you heard some of those songs from back then? Huh? Have y'all ever heard? Have you heard? It wasn't all hunky-dory. Just because they didn't get you involved in that conversation, they would tell you stuff like stay in a child's place. That's when they was talking about all the stuff they were doing that they should have been doing. You understand what I'm just saying? They kept you in a child's place. They didn't have the internet. So they kept their business out the street. But they were as dysfunctional back then as we are now. It's just now you have the internet. You don't think they had women loose women throwing their stuff around, giving their goods to anybody? Men who didn't want to work, men who were horrible, men who beat and cheat. You understand? So stop counting yourself out. But be mindful of that language. What we used to be, we still are that. We're still an amazing and beautiful people. As dysfunctional as they think we are, there's brilliance and genius in our dysfunction. Clearly, we are blessed people. That's why we're still here. But anyway, I'm going to let this brother keep talking.
Black American without being disparaging to other Black people across the world. It's okay. Once again, the goal is to get you to hate other people around the world that might have similar interests and goals as you in order to liberate you from white supremacy. Stay woke.
If all the white people disappeared tomorrow, we'll still be fighting with each other because that's just the nature of how human beings are. You all act like white people just popped up about 6,000 years ago. You don't think people on Earth were fighting before then? We just use white people as an excuse. The truth is our battle is with human nature. That's our real battle. All right. And we just use white people because white people are at the top of the social pile right now. But if it was some Asians at the top of the social pile, we'd be blaming them for all our troubles. That's what human beings do. Period. Point blank. Really no getting around it. But let's listen to this lady and keep it pushing.
Me, baby, because I don't give a fuck about the ICE raids no more. As a matter of fact, I want all of y'all motherfuckers out my backyard immediately. Out my country. Off my fucking land, bitch.
That's too many. That's too many. Family friendly. She just dropped the MF. I got the baby girl. You can't be out here cussing like that. You came in there too hot. You came in hot. Calm down. Somebody type calm down in the chat room. Calm down, little bonnet head lady. I know you mad. Calm down with all that profanity. That's 4 in the first 15 seconds. You're going to get me demonetized before I get to 100,000. Calm down, girl. Never forget these MFers was never here to stand in solidarity. I can't keep letting you play. You say another couple of words, I'm going to get you out of here. Get somebody who's calm. I need a librarian or something.
Because here's the thing what a lot of people don't know. During the civil rights movement, a lot of Black immigrants were brought here specifically to ruin the civil rights movement. So when we were boycotting jobs and not taking jobs because we were demanding greater pay, here come the fucking docile Negroes taking the jobs for less. And they dumbasses was happy as fuck to take it.
That's number 5. That's number 6. 6, this profanity-laced diatribe will not stand. You're going to have to watch your filthy mouth. I'm going to send you a bar of Ivory soap and a Walmart face towel. You better watch it. You better watch it, miss. That potty mouth. Somebody type potty mouth in the chat room.
Thinking that we lazy and we don't work hard. Then you ever notice a lot of the foreigners like that have their little businesses and shit. It be mom and pop shops and black people hood. That's not by coincidence. That's how the system was designed. They was getting all type of business loans and shit to be here because they wanted to replace us. So while we were getting mass incarcerated, they were getting migrated over, getting started over with businesses, loans, all type of shit. So no matter what we could even tell them about the white man, they weren't receptive to it because the white man giving them jobs and giving them businesses and taking care of them. So they really thought that we were fucking lazy and that we didn't want to work.
11.
I feel like this is actually their karma because now they get to see firsthand the shit that we've been trying to tell them from day one when they scurried their raggedy asses here on this land. And if you pay close attention, these.
Now I will say this: her ability to integrate profane language into her discussion is elegant. It is she's clearly learned from some professionals. I mean, I bet if we could listen to her mother use profane language and other women in her family, it would be as fluid. This could be an Olympic sport. The ability to incorporate profane language, because I counted 3 shits, and in total 11 hardcore words. So that's 14 use of profane language incorporated inside of a minute. And I'm learning something from this young lady. I'm learning something from her. She cute too. She cute. I would listen to her because she cute. You know what I'm saying? She cussing, but it's elegant. It's smooth. It's very smooth, which some people don't cuss right. I mean, it's true. Motherfucker, they don't. It's not smooth like that. You know, this is smooth like some cognac. You know what I'm talking about? This is smooth like some cognac when they give it to you with the little brown glass. She's cussing. I can listen to her. She does have a potty mouth, but it's smooth though. I mean, you put this on a rap track, baby. I can listen to it like, yeah, you're right. That's good stuff. I'm gonna let her finish because she's learning. I don't like the profane language, but I'm gonna let her finish.
These black immigrants are more upset at black people for doing nothing than they are upset with white people. They're more upset with black people for doing nothing than they are with the government. They're more upset with black people for doing nothing than Trump, than ICE, than all of that shit. Because it's not the system that they're upset about. It's the fact that they don't no longer benefit from the system. We see posts from foreigners talking about, can we go back to old police brutality? Why? So that only black people can be getting beat? I had one Somali bitch come on my post.
Damn. Damn. Go ahead. You just putting them all out there. This is racial.
Talking about after this shit is said and done, she gonna be on the sidelines recording while black people are getting killed by police officers again. The bitch was excited about it because it's not the system that they're upset with. It's them being oppressed that they're upset with. And so I say, enjoy it. Y'all didn't want to help us fight during the civil rights movement. Y'all wanted to call us lazy and fuck up everything we have going on. So now it's your turn. Deal with your saviors.
Oh, well, we know this is going to get demonetized. So anyway, well, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. She definitely pointed out some things. I would add that the reason that they don't address the government directly, because that could lead to some retribution. You heard what the Black Smurf said. They don't believe that Black Americans have any power. Remember that? You hear that part earlier on? Black Smurf, the Black African Smurf with the blue. royal blue suit on. I used to have a Cadillac that color. I used to have a blue Cadillac that color, man. But they don't believe that we have any authority. Okay, and so that's why we'll just blame the Black Americans. That's what this is about. But apparently it didn't work like that. Apparently what happened was they didn't anticipate that we would delineate from them and say, hey, no, you guys go ahead and go about your own business. We'll handle our business. And, you mind yours, I'm mind mine. That's kind of what happened. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to I got a couple more videos and then we're going to get back to the main body of the broadcast. But you guys make sure that you show me some love by subscribing to the channel if you have not already. I got a couple more videos and then we're going to go ahead and get back to the actual lesson. This is a Jamaican guy explaining how he was trained to hate or trained to dislike or trained to say mean things about or think less of Black Americans. Listen to this gentleman as he speaks.
Harlem. I just met a gentleman this morning, and he touched cotton for the first time. And
the first time, okay. By the way.
And he is by way
the brown
of
and white one.
the green and brown, of course.
Yes.
And he's by way of Jamaican parents. And I asked him some questions about growing up as a Jamaican young man. And I asked, did your parents tell you not to be like Black Americans?
Yep.
And what was your response?
My response was every fucking day. Every day.
Wow.
Let me just point out to you all, on behalf of Black Americans, we don't want to be like you all either. We don't want to be like Jamaicans. We don't want to be like Trinidadians. We damn sure don't want to be like Ghanaians or Trinidadians. You all live in poor third world countries with poor infrastructure and bad plumbing. Okay. You all are living in a way in which we lived back in the 1800s. We don't want to be like you either. Okay. And here's the thing. There is no excuse. You can blame the white man all you want, but the white man left you all there. You heard what that white man said. Y'all are begging for colonialism to come back to help you organize and manage your resources. We don't want to be like you either. See, if you were more like us, you would have more money. You would have more talent, you would have more resources, and you'd have more unity. That's what you should be. You should be like us, but you don't want to be. And that's fine. We don't want you to be like us because you can't be like us. You never be like us because you're too disunified. There's too much disunity. Just keep that in mind. Okay? But let's go ahead and let this fella keep putting his foot in his mouth. And let me say something else. The internet is forever. So this cat right here, where you gonna be in a couple years, man? You gonna be looking for a job? And we're gonna say that's the dude right there that said disparaging things about foundational Black Americans. You don't think we're taking notes? Those of us who are employers, those of us who are in positions of authority, huh? You don't think that we are gonna remember this? All you immigrants out there saying that. What about the girl that called us dirty Black Americans? Y'all remember her? You don't think that we have her face memorialized in our mind? What's going to happen in 10 years when this YouTube podcast game is out of here? What's going to happen to people like Myron, whatever his name is, when the corporations take over? Just like they're doing YouTube now. They want family-friendly content, which is why I don't need y'all cussing on the internet. So what's going to happen after you make it hot? Because let me tell you how white folks do. There was a time when Fox was the channel for Black people. Y'all remember Jamie Foxx, Martin Luther King? Remember that? So Black people get it hot, and then they get to the point where they can scale it and make money off it, and they get rid of all the Black people. You see what I'm saying? So what's going to happen when that happens to YouTube? That's what I'm asking. Okay? What's going to happen then? They're going to remember your name. They're going to remember your face. You see? And so you just putting your foot in your mouth. Let's go ahead and let this man finish killing his future career.
It just in the house, you would just, if you do anything, You act like Yankee them. You act like the American people them.
Act like a Yankee them, yeah. You and your family, you and your Jamaican family. They're gonna say y'all the parents. So you all were the ones that trained him not to like Black Americans. That's what you telling us. You can't have a job either. We don't even want you here. See?
Okay. All right. You know what? We need to send you back to Jamaica to remind you who you are.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
You don't want to be named.
You don't want to be like Black Americans.
They preach to you like how they say make it right.
Wow. What did they say, like, as far as like behavioral?
I mean, are there any Black Americans in here who want to be like Jamaicans? I mean, I'm just saying. I got much love for. I like Bob Marley. I like the curry oxtails. They're delicious, beautiful country. But we don't want to live. When I think of Jamaica, I think of an island. I think I like the island. It's not the culture of the people on the island that I think is, that good. Okay, that's not a culture that we look up to. We like the island. It brings about, when you get off that cruise ship, the Princess, Carnival Cruise Lines, you full of that Earl. You get off there and they when you get there, they say, look, don't go over there with the Jamaicans. Y'all just stay here with the Indians. Why not? We came to see Jamaica. We want to see the Blacks here. No, don't mess with those Jamaicans. And after you all get through asking us for our shoes, brother, give me your shoes, brother. We need all that begging going on in Jamaica. The average Black person will not tell you that when you go to Jamaica, them some of the beggingest people you ever meet. Go to Ojarias. You get off the boat in Ojarias, they begging. Go to Montego Bay, more begging. You can't take a cab anywhere. You can't leave the what is that called? The all-inclusive resorts because it's dangerous. You see what I mean? And after a while, the novelty of the accent wears off. And I'm not speaking ill of all Jamaicans. I'm just saying, you all come to our country to tell us that your people are telling you you don't want to be like Black Americans. Well, why you had your Black ass here in the first place? You want to live up under Black people? Go live with the white folks. Why did you move to Brooklyn? Why don't you go move to North Dakota or something like that? If you don't like Black Americans that bad, go live around the white folks. Take your Black ass down to South Texas and see how they treat you in the valley. That's what I'm saying. Since y'all don't like Black Americans so much, don't live around Black Americans. No, I don't mean living adjacent. No, I mean don't live around us at all. There's only about 20-some cities with a large Black American population. There's only a couple of states. They call it the Cotton Belt. Move your ass to Utah. Go hang out in North Dakota, Montana, or something like that. Go to Oregon. That's where I want you to go on up there to Oregon. Go hang out in Oregon. And since you don't like Black Americans, you and your mama and your daddy, all y'all go up there. Aren't you? We're tired of the disrespect, man. We are tired of the disrespect. You guys, and it shows. It shows. Nobody wants to deal with this in our own. You're making our life hard because they'll get a Negro like you and put you on TV and give you a job working for MSNBC, and you'll go about saying crazy stuff on the internet, and you'll say crazy stuff on television, and then people say, oh, well, we need to make this guy the governor. We need to make him a senator. He's perfect. He's a mouthpiece. He's a little Negro mouthpiece for us. And then the white supremacists will take that rhetoric and they will throw that right back in Black people's face. That's all I'm saying, family. And it's like, why, if you don't like Black Americans, take your Black ass back to Kingston where you belong then, homeboy. That's all I'm saying. If you don't like it, go back home. You have a home to go to. This is our home. Don't come over here and mess up our home and then and talk bad about it because you've already said the only reason y'all here is to make money and leave. That's what I'm saying. That's it. And now you've been exposed. And this is a problem. Let me get this. Go ahead. Let's let this dude finish talking.
Patterns of Black Americans. What was the reject?
The main thing they would say is being lazy.
Okay.
Lazy.
You don't want to be lazy.
Got
like
it.
Black American.
You know how dirty Kingston, Jamaica is, sir. Y'all, look, let me say something. The Chinese have done more work in Jamaica in the past 20 years than you all did for the first 100 that you had it. I'm just saying. And you call Black Americans lazy? If you all work so hard, somebody type work hard. If you work so hard, why don't y'all go work hard on that dirty ass little island that you got? Why don't you do that? And that goes for all of you. I don't come up here disrespect calling us lazy. Do you not know we work for free for the first 245, 56 years of our existence in this country? And then for the next 100 years, they had something called the convict leasing program where they would literally put us in jail because we didn't have more than $5 in our pocket or because we were loitering or something like that. And then they had us work on that for another 100 years. Did you not see that little video with that young Black man, Lulio, whatever his name is? They say he's young. We got an Asian prison population. We're just going to go ahead and put him in jail, put him in there for life. No, don't unalive him. We're going to put him in there for life. Do you know why Kamala Harris, as the Attorney General, she didn't want to let Black men out of jail and prison in California because they use them to fight fires, paying them 2 or 3 cents an hour? It's like, damn, they've been calling us lazy ever since we stopped working for free. This is the same white supremacist rhetoric. And let me tell you something else, since I'm going off on a tangent. You all compare yourself with poor Black people because you move your Black behinds to the ghetto where there's a bunch of poor people. And then you compare the habits of poor people to yourselves. You don't compare yourself to the doctors and lawyers and engineers and the upper echelon. You move in the ghetto because that's all you can afford with your broke, sad selves. And this is for all the immigrants. You move over there and you compare yourself to the lowest rung of Black people. And then you let that stand for all of it. You compare yourself to rap videos and people who live in the projects, people who are living impoverished, people who have drug addict parents and stuff. That's what you do. And then you use that to disparage all Black people as if you can't see the difference. You live in the ghetto. You're poor too. You came to this country poor with your poor parents and your poor immigrant parents from your poor nation. And then you got the nerve to talk about the poor people here and call them lazy. Or at least they supposed to be here. At least this is their country. Just sad and despicable.
Like your American friend them. It's definitely that way. And that's what they would say because it's a stereotype. And sometimes I do have American friends. I have friends of all different nationalities, right? But sometimes because the Americans are so privileged, so I'm not blaming them. So I'm not like siding. I think it's the Libra in me that make me politically correct. But you were there, they don't realize what they have, so they can be kind of lazy about it. Like they don't realize, hey, lazy. Like we're in America. Like you can get up and do anything you want today. Wow. You're the only one in your.
I mean, I'm just saying, y'all hear what they say, and this is why we delineating. We can't have people like that speaking for us, saying Black Americans are lazy. You see what I'm saying? Can y'all see? That's the type of rhetoric that gets repeated by these folks that don't like us, that have been trying to get rid of us for decades. Okay, that's the type of rhetoric that gets spoken of. You understand? And it's a problem. It's a big problem. Keep listening.
If not all of them, they all fell for the okie doke. Let me tell you why, right? Most immigrants are coming to this country for a better life or to chase the American dream, right? But there's a people in this country who has not experienced that. They've been disenfranchised. They have their communities and their schools defunded. They've been abused by people of authority, police officers, politicians making laws against them for no reason at all, just to fit into the buddy club, right? So if you're an immigrant coming to chase a better life, and you come to this country, and mind you, it's a benefit. It's a win-win situation because you're going to be able to go to school when you come to this country. You're going to be able to send your children to school. You're going to be able to open businesses and possibly build some kind of wealth you would have never experienced in your home country, right? If you speak to an African American, they're going to tell you something negative. They might get in the way of what the government has planned for you. So the government has been destroying their image to all immigrants, because no matter what, Haitian immigrant, Caribbean immigrant, whatever it may be, Chinese immigrant, Russian immigrant, everyone has been told the same story by who I don't know. The black people, they're lazy, they're violent, they're this and that. When the black people don't even have the ability to tell their own stories because their image is owned by the media. The media puts them as gang members and drug lords and all kind of things. So they're at the behest of whatever the media says that they are as well. So immigrants come here adopting this mindset that the African Americans are lazy, worthless, and violent. And it's funny because like the white.
But see, the thing is, they want to believe that because they want to believe themselves to be better. And they also want to believe that they're not unwanted. Oh, well, if the black Americans are lazy, then we'll just go there and work harder. And then that'll make us feel less guilty about going in here, taking their positions, taking their authority, and these little crumbs, these little breadcrumbs, these little scholarships, these little jobs set aside where we type in African American or we put Black American, even though we're from Ghana or Haiti or Jamaica or Trinidad. So we'll just put, so we don't feel as guilty because they're lazy anyway. They don't want this. This is the psychological hoop that they put themselves through so that they feel less guilty about doing something like taking privileges and advantages and set-asides that were for hard-earned set-asides that were set aside for Black Americans because of what our ancestors did. This is how they cope with that. And when you really start looking into the psychology of that, these people know they don't belong. I can tell you if you go to a jury pool and you get a bunch of immigrants on there, they barely want to stand up and speak because they don't feel as though they really belong. So they end up being followers in the jury because they don't feel like they have the standing to actually speak up and say how they really feel. Oh my God, I can't really put somebody in jail. My God, I'm not even from America. And they don't feel like it. And they always feel like they don't truly belong in this country. And so in order for them to make themselves feel better about taking some Black American spot, they feel like frauds, a lot of them. And that's why they quit to say, I'm just going back home. I'm just here to work and go back home. Because they don't want somebody to say you don't belong here. Well, I'm just going to work and go back home. In other words, you won't have to deal with me. I'm not that bad. I'm going to leave. I'm going to get out of your hair. Soon as I get my first check, soon as I get my check on Tuesday, I'm moving out. That's their way to make themselves feel less like a burden. But it's a psychological trick, man. Let's keep pushing, man. Let's listen to this fella.
Immigrants can't tell the difference between a Caribbean and an African American. So in all reality, they're just against Black people, period. And then the Caribbeans is just against the African Americans. And it's funny, I remember when I was growing up, I went to school, junior high school in a white neighborhood, right? All of my Chinese friends used to always tell me, hey, my parents found out we walk home together or whatever the case is. You know, I'd be in a lot of trouble. My parents found out that you were smarter than me. I'd be in a lot of trouble. And I'm like, I remember I used to ask them, like, mind you, this is a white neighborhood. Their parents and them live in this white neighborhood. I used to ask them, do your parents work in a Black neighborhood? Do they work with Black people? These are first generation Chinese people. So they don't. They work in stores and stuff like that. They don't have no career path or nothing like that, but they're still letting their children know, stay away from Black people. Don't do nothing with them. How do they know? What interactions do you have with Black people? None. But somebody's telling them something. So to wrap it all up, though,
they have interactions with our Black dollars, don't they? They don't mind taking our Black dollars out the neighborhood, do they? They don't, because if it wasn't for other people owning those shops, those would be Black-owned shops. Those would be Black-owned stores. Those would be Black-owned nail shops, just like every other community. But why would I need to start a Black-owned nail shop if it's a bunch of Korean nail shops here? Why would I need to run a Black-owned grocery store if I'm gonna have to compete with this African grocery store, this Latino or Hispanic grocery store? That's how that works. You see, if there was a need that needed to be filled, some people from our community would do it. But because we're so kind and open and we let people set up in our community and we really not tripping on it, that's why we're dealing with the situation. We'll take care of this, and they just constantly take the money and get it out. That's why the Black dollar doesn't last but an hour in the Black community. By the time you get through buying, you get your paycheck, it hit that paycheck hit Thursday night. By Friday morning, all those automatic deductions and the grocery bills and the gas and all that stuff, you broke. You got you got about $212 to get you all the way to the first. You see? The gas bill keeps showing up every month. All right? Every month. And that's why the black dollar circulates less than an hour in the black community. Let's let him finish.
Immigrants have this bad mindset to African Americans while making money from the African Americans, while being able to enjoy rights that the African Americans fought for, while having their stores in African American communities and black communities and being able to send their children to school because of them. But yet they fall for the okie doke. While they're benefiting from them, they'll still have a bad mouth against them, saying bad things about them. But we know that that's just like a dissociation because none of it is true.
Yeah. You know, so the brother said he had a mouthful. He said a lot, and it's a lot to digest. But I mean, I appreciate him being honest, you know, because this is the only way things change is when we have these honest conversations. And I really feel like black Americans are the only people who really didn't know that this is how these folks felt. I mean, we had whispers of it, we didn't know.
Have for black Americans, we have the same for Africans, whatever you are. First, I don't hate anyone. I don't give people that power over me. It's actually the opposite.
Somebody type passive aggressive up in here. First of all, she's passive aggressive. That's passive aggressive. That's all fake. Okay. Let me run it back. I want you to see it. Am I doing this right? Let me see. Am I doing it right? Let me make sure I'm doing it right. Okay. See that? We look alike. Now, let me turn my head to the side. Passive aggressive. You know what I mean? Let's let her finish. I'm gonna let her finish. Okay. I am nothing. Whatever you saying. Let's keep.
Also black. I grew up admiring black Americans. As a child, I looked up to you all. But after more than 20 years.
As a child, I looked up to you, but after more than 20 years, let's hear the bullshit.
Years of living among you and observing different behaviors and patterns. I can honestly say I am just exhausted by certain cultural attitudes I have consistently seen, especially the normalization of ratchet behavior.
Oh, okay. So I take her at her word, and it's certain cultural patterns that she has a problem with. And I find that very interesting because, you know, I mean, this is a cultural pattern of black people in Africa unaliving their leaders, stripping the country of its wealth. These are cultural patterns. And so you left the country like this. Okay, you came over here to the United States. We haven't unalived our leaders. Now, the government has unalived our leaders, but we haven't. And so, again, there's a whole slew of videos on the internet right now demonstrating Africa's cultural patterns, not just in West Africa, but also in South Africa and so many other different places where we see that, you know, you all are really being xenophobic towards each other. You are doing horrible things to each other. You're unaliving each other. You're literally booting each other out of your countries. And now you have the nerve to come over here, ma'am, and tell us, you know, us black Americans, that, you know, as a child, you look up to us, but now as an adult, you know, you see things differently. I find that quite interesting. And also consider the fact that you all, shout out to Zuick, you all also
for umbrellas. You sold our ancestors for fine china. You sold our ancestors for any little trinket that you could get. And now, and now, you mad because other nations got rich off the slave trade and all you got was some beads. And now you want to sit here and try to ask for $100 million to validate the place where you sold you don't speak for us because you don't have our blood. Al Sharpton, you have our blood, but you still don't speak for us.
Now, if you all don't understand, this lady is a sister, and she's dressing down the Africans who came to the United Nations in New York to try to convince the European countries to pay Ghana reparations for our slavery, okay? And so when I listen to somebody like this, when I listen to an African person,
victim mentality,
talk about, you know, what we don't do in our culture. Your culture is the one that sold black people into slavery. The reason we're here now is because of people like you. I just want you to know, with your mouth open like that, catching flies. Somebody type catching flies in the chat room. You're the reason that we're here in the first place. Victim mentality. We wouldn't have a victim mentality if you all hadn't rounded us up and sold us for bees and gunpowder and liquor. But I'm gonna let you finish speaking, because you just like, you're not helping the situation. The internet is forever. They will remember you. I just want you to know that. Somebody type catching flies in the chat room. They will remember you.
and glaring double standards. That is not hate. That is fatigue. And notice the people most offended are usually the ones I am talking about. The ones living exactly in that behavior pattern are the first to react emotionally instead of reflecting.
Well, no, all that blinking, what you're doing is you're trying to say something. You're trying to incite an emotional response because that's what you want to do for white people. But I want to share with you something, because I don't think you realize that white people don't like you either. I know you think they do, but they don't like you. Here's one. Let me let you hear what White Zaddy. Somebody type White Zaddy in the chat room.
You don't. In the 1700s, most of your languages didn't even have 2,000 words, and none of you ever wrote it down. The white people in the 1700s and 1800s had to come and write your languages down for you. Is that culture if you can't even write down your language? And if you have less than 2,000 words to describe everything in life, your culture, your dances, your food, everything, you don't really have a culture in comparison to white people.
I'm just saying, shout out to Yaya's kid. This is what White Zaddy thinks about you, baby. This is what White Zaddy thinks about you. This is what he thinks about your culture. Let me let you back and finish, since you're trying to please them. Black people, Black Americans is so bad. But this is what your white God thinks about.
You find a successful Black person playing victim. They are too busy building, working, and taking accountability to blame every setback on the system. You would rarely find a responsible Black person with home training fighting in public or dressing like a hood rat. Self-respect and dignity still exist. Millions of
self-respect, what millions, what baby?
Black people live it every day.
Self-respect and dignity. Let's ponder on that. Let's pontificate on that. Self-respect and dignity. Self-respect and dignity would probably, I don't know, cause you all to stop selling yourselves into the Arab slave trade, which still exists today.
Enslaved South Asian and Black women like dog shit. And you keep them out of the conversation when it comes to injustice. You understand? You're actually worse than the All Lives Matter in the West. In the East, they just pretend they're completely invisible.
So my sister Iman did a video about the kafala system and the slavery that is going on to this day in the Arab world. And it shows some people still don't understand how big the problem is. Some people still don't know that slavery, anti-Black slavery in the Arab world was a 13th century phenomena. And some people still call it the American propaganda when it predates America. America exists in.
Yes, I know already. I know that they still have slaves. Okay, just so you all know. Okay, just you all know, they are still selling Black people in Africa are still selling other Black people into slavery. Okay, did you all know that? Because see, this lady over here, this Black, she's self-respect. Let's listen to self-respect.
Black parents who actually value education, teaching their kids America is so racist, they should not even.
Don't y'all have like female mutilation over there? Didn't they just have like a bunch of black people unalive, a bunch of other black people in the name of for some cows or something like that? I mean, I'm just asking because you have a lot to say to us, and the whole continent that you live on is in turmoil. Whether we're talking about the eastern section, the East Africa or West Africa, you got the South Africans booting the West Africans out of their country, and the West Africans retaliating, and you have the nerve, the unmitigated gall to try to tell us what we need to do as foundational Black Americans. And you're over here because of the work that our ancestors put in. I'm just saying, ma'am. And based on your skin tone, you should probably stay away from lemon yellow. It is not something that compliments you. Just pointing that out. Maybe stick more with the earth tones, in my humble opinion. But you can continue with your diatribe of foolishness and nonsense.
Don't try. The ones raising leaders aren't the loudest online, but they are raising the standard. Calling out behavior does not equal hate. I can love Black Americans and
so calling out behavior. What about selling your own African? Are you gonna say these are not your people too? The current Africans that are being sold into slavery, those aren't your people either. I get it. We're 500 years removed. We're not the same. We're of African descent, but we're not the same. But what about the current Africans over there being sold into slavery? Go ahead and finish. I'm just asking.
Still be done with the chaos some bring to public spaces. If you don't do those things, I'm not talking about you. No, it's always the one that do those things that think I hate them because I call them out. Accountability.
You need to call out your government. That's what you need to do. You need to call out your government, where you're from, about embezzling all the money from the Africans. You need to get your roads together. That's what you need to do. You need to get your infrastructure together. You need to repair some of those colonial era train tracks that you all had. That's what you need to do. You use your big fly catching mouth for that, baby. That's what you need to do. All that
feels like hate when you have never had it.
Passive aggressive self. But anyway, I want to just say this as I started off at the top of the broadcast. Black Americans and white Americans have an understanding, and largely we pretty much get along. And I like this video from this brother from Tennessee. I want you to check this out, okay? Because Tennessee has gotten a lot of flack lately, all right? Because you have people like Chud the Builder. But I want to point out to this fact, this black man who's from Tennessee, and you're gonna see how he interacts with other people, white people from Tennessee, black people and white people. We've been here long enough. And shout out to all the folk out there who are watching the broadcast right now. And I want you to check out this. It says a lot. It speaks for itself. Take a listen.
I'm all right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Yeah. What I tell you? Just making sure you can make it by. Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look at that.
Yeah. Hey, white people, they gave you a bad rap. And sometimes they give us a bad rap. But I'm out here in Tennessee, and I decided to stop before I get stuck because I'm only 16 minutes away from my drop off, but I'm gonna start hitting turns and lefts and rights, and I know I'll get stuck. So before I do, I'll stop. And I'm in the middle of the street, man, look, it's a whiteout. They don't know if my car's running or anything, but they always stop and see if I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we talk bad about each other, but really, white people, I appreciate y'all, man, out here in Tennessee. Y'all really some good niggas. Hello.
So they are not N-words. All right. So anyway, again, we know who we are. We know what goes on in this country. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is that the reason that we've been able to exist in this country for all these years, all these centuries, is because we do have an understanding. All right. So I don't want all you foreigners who come over here, a lot of you all come over here keeping up trouble and starting mess. That's what you do. And you come in and you exacerbate the issues, because the thing that keeps Black Americans and white Americans in a certain able to exist together, because we respect each other's boundaries. Number one. Shout out to my man Red Sigma. Now, again, I want to kind of dispel some of these myths, and you guys, we're gonna get back into this broadcast. This thing is gonna go quick. But you know, the story African and Caribbean immigrants like to tell about Black Americans isn't as clean as they want people to believe. They often present themselves as more disciplined and more educated, more successful, and more economically advanced than foundational Black Americans. And again, I use the term foundational Black American because I like the term. I like foundational. I like that. It denotes power. But if you all would like us to go back to American Negro, I have no problem with that either. Would you all like us to go back to being American Negroes? They wouldn't be fighting us if we decide to call ourselves Negroes again. They'd chime in, right? Oh, yeah, let's go to, how about color? Can we get a color? How about we get the N-word in there with the ER? Yeah, the problem that they have is us calling ourselves foundational Black Americans, because that delineates, and that name denotes power and it denotes roots. And that's the problem that they have with it. Okay, there's some other powerful names out there. The Solon people, sounds like a video, some type of a comic book hero, but you get what I'm saying. They have a problem with that. All right, but anyway, so for the purpose of this broadcast, we're talking about foundational Black Americans, same as the American Negro, same as freedmen, same as colored people, same as what we were calling African Americans back in the 1980s. But there's so many Africans in this country now, it makes no sense to refer to ourselves as African Americans, because they won't be able to distinguish between a Black person from Ghana, Africa, the country of Nigeria, and all these other places, and a Black American. So this is why we delineate. But when we look at the actual numbers, you know, when related to education, the picture is far more complicated as far as who's doing better. Okay, but remember, these folk use it as a flex. Many Black immigrants, they earn respectable incomes, no disrespect there, but the data doesn't support the idea that they're financially dominating Black Americans in some overwhelming way. In fact, the numbers show something much closer to this. Okay, African immigrants are often highly educated, but they're still underpaid based on their education. Caribbean immigrants tend to fall into a middle to upper five-figure income range, and Black immigrants overall still lag behind non-Black immigrants and non-Black U.S.-born households. And see, this is where the myth starts falling apart, because they say they're better. They say they say we lazy, right? They had there's a place called the Migration Policy Institute, and they did a study from 2020 to 2024, and they said Black immigrant households had a median household income of $77,000, while non-Black immigrants, okay, that's the Indians and the Asians, theirs is $84,000. Black immigrants are still behind the non-average. You are the lowest paid immigrants in the country. You see, that's a real comparison. Shout out to Myron Magnus. Are they just doing better than Black America? Don't worry about us. See, the real question is all that education, all those extra degrees from the University of Cuba and the University of Lagos, still not getting you paid any more money. And see, that's especially important when we talk about African immigrants. African immigrants are described as one of the most educated immigrant groups in the United States. The American Immigration Council said that 40% of African immigrants have at least a bachelor's degree, making them more likely than the overall U.S. population, which means white folk, to have a high level of education. But high education doesn't automatically turn into high economic power. Degrees are not wealth, and they damn sure are not hustle. They're not connections. They're not a network. They don't just grant you ownership over land and grandma's house and great granddaddy's farm. Degrees are not political leverage. We don't give a damn how many PhDs you have. You get one vote. You know nobody, and nobody knows you. Shout out to Esther Lou. And the other thing is, degrees aren't generational assets. You can't pass it down to your son and your grandson. And this is where the underpayment issue comes in migration. Migration Policy Institute research found that Black immigrants with 4-year degrees or higher are 54% more likely than white immigrants to be unemployed or working in a job. You understand that? You're still out there broke and unemployed with your damn degrees. And see, and that's the definition of brain waste. Somebody type brain waste in the chat room. So when people say African immigrants are educated, the response should be educated for what's the outcome? No. If you have degrees, but the American labor market still underuses your black behind and underpays your black butt or blocks your credentials, then that education isn't turning anything into a level of power people pretend it is. That's not what it is. I want you to think about that. You don't think this system of white supremacy sees your black behind? You think they're going to ignore all that blackness on you just because you have a bunch of vowels in your last name? That's not how America works. Are you ready to talk yet? Are you ready to have this conversation? Because you're hard-headed. We tried to tell you, didn't we? We tried to tell you that working harder is not all that's necessary. And here's another thing. Not all Africans are doing well. The highest paid group of Africans in America are the South Africans. Did y'all know that? They have the highest of the African groups. The South African immigrant households have median household is 120,000. The Kenyans are 92,000. The Cameroonians are 91,000. The Somalians are way down at 46,000. So don't take credit for all those other Africans. You're not South African. Go tell them, you Nigerians and Ghanaian, go tell them South Africans you taking credit for what they're doing. They're going to say, no, you're not. Not at all. Some groups are doing well, some groups are not. And the bottom line is those numbers are not dramatically above the broader U.S. middle class anyway. And then for the Caribbean immigrants, it's even worse. Jamaica, Trinidad, y'all not all of y'all, you not making money like Nicki Minaj. There was something called, look, there was a report that came out that said Caribbean immigrant households had a median household income of about $66,000 in 2024. Jamaican immigrant households were 81,000. Trinidadian, 77,000. Haitian, 72,000. Dominican immigrants, 53,000. And here's what y'all need to understand. The average Black American household is about $50,000, but we talking about one person. We talking largely about one mother, one Black mother, or one man who lives by himself who makes as much as both of them, because these people are married and only pulling in 66,000. We talk about single Black Americans who make more than these couples do. Keep that in mind. So what bottom line is this Caribbean average money intake, you know, it's not elite financials. You all are not balling out here. It's mostly middle income with some groups doing better than others. So the immigrant superiority narrative is it's exaggerated. Black immigrants aren't financially crushing Black Americans the way people suggest. They're often educated, but they're underused. They can't get jobs. They end up washing toilets down in Fort Lauderdale somewhere, cleaning old white people's bedpans out. That's what you end up doing with your degree. You may earn more money than U.S.-born Black households on some median income measures, but you still trail behind them non-Black immigrants from Central Asia and East Asia. And a lot of African and Caribbean immigrants love to compare themselves. You compare yourself to the worst of Black America. I want you to hear that. They'll take their doctors and their lawyers and their engineers and their professors and their high-income professionals and compare themselves to dirt poor Black Americans and working class Black Americans, regular everyday Black people. That's not even a fair comparison. That's not even a serious analysis. That's just propaganda. If they're going to compare, honestly, don't compare yourself to a doctor or to some poor person. Don't compare your engineer to a working class person. Don't compare your lawyer to some brother living in the hood who fresh out, who never had the same educational access that you did, who lost his father to the war on drugs and lost his mother to the war on drugs because she out there turning tricks in the parking lot trying to get a fix. They didn't have the same professional pipeline or the same immigrant selection process. They didn't get a scholarship because their family were immigrants from Ghana. If you want to talk about elite Black immigrants, then you need to compare yourself to elite foundational Black Americans. Compare yourself to the Black American doctors and generational doctors and dentists and generational lawyers. Did you all not see that video that I put up early? Or that show my great-great-great-granddaddy George Washington Jones Sr. was the first Black county attorney in Graham County, Kansas, Nicodemus, Kansas. Compare yourself to folk like that. Compare lawyers to lawyers. Compare engineers to engineers. Compare your professors to our professors. Compare your executives to our executives. That's the fair comparison. And see, when you do that, that whole superiority native, it just evaporates immediately. I can tell you straight up. The average median household for a Black professional is well up over 6 figures. The average median profession for an African is barely 6 figures. And Caribbeans is still round about that mid-range, high 5 figures. I'm just saying. Look, African immigrants, they're highly educated, but they're still underpaid based on the education. And Caribbean immigrants are generally in the middle income range, not some elite economic class. And that financial gap you claim over Black Americans is overstated and is selective and is stripped of context. They want to compare their best households to Black America's worst neighborhoods, the ones that they end up in when they first get to this country. But if we're going to compare honestly, compare education, pay, compare income wealth, compare household income, household size, compare professional degrees, ownership, compare claims, we want to see what you're actually doing. And when you put it up there, the myth actually, it collapses. Now, another thing I want to address is something Black immigrants always bring up. They love to say Black Americans are hyper-focused on race. And the truth is we are. Or at least we were, because in America, race has never been optional for us. Race determined whether we were enslaved, whether we could live in certain places, whether we could work in certain places, where we could go to school, where we could vote, whether or not we could get a loan, whether or not we could sit at a damn lunch counter and drink out of a water fountain. You better pay attention to race. The Equal Justice Initiative traces that history through slavery and racial terror, lynching, legal segregation, mass incarceration. And that's why Black Americans learn very early that race isn't some side issue in America. Race is one of the main organizing systems of this country. Generation X is the first Black generation born fully free. Generation X starts in 1965. We just got the Voting Rights Act in 1965. So and we got Generation X people who are still in their 40s right now. You are the first fully free generation of Black Americans in this country. All the time period before that, race was the quintessential issue that everybody had to deal with. So you telling me we just supposed to ignore that as if racists should be ignored now? It obviously can't. Otherwise, they wouldn't be gerrymandering up these southern states, cutting up all the black districts like they are. If it didn't matter, would it? Back in the 1970s and 80s, even in the 1990s, everybody, I want to talk to y'all about something, man. You better be hyper. Let me tell you how hypersensitive. I wish I had some more water. I'm just going to let y'all know when this water gone, I'm gone. I'm going to get out of here. But I want to talk to y'all about somebody type N-word in the chat room. I want y'all, because see, let me tell you what happened. This is why we have to be hyper vigilant about racism in this country. Okay? And my moms want me to say, y'all learn. Yeah, they learning something. They just ain't got their check tonight. Okay? They don't get their check to the 30th. Okay? It's going to hit that Thursday night. They ain't got no money tonight, so don't sweat them too hard, but they're going to learn something. So in the 1970s and 80s, all right, in the 1990s, everybody knew there was a hard line around the N-word. Okay? A white man couldn't call you that. A Mexican man couldn't call you that. Nobody outside the black community could call you that and expect to be treated like a casual conversation. Just wasn't gonna happen. You was gonna get walloped. You understand? Shout out to my man Essential Entities. Great seeing you in here. One of my way back folk, man. Shout out to my man Essential Entities, man. But again, they understood what fighting words meant, and the N-word was a fighting word. And legally, the United States Supreme Court recognized fighting words in the doctrine in a case called Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire. It decided way back in 1942, you can't say everything. The court said certain direct personal insults and racial epithets are not protected the same way normal speech is when they're likely to provoke immediate violent reaction. The Library of Congress explains that fighting words are personally abusive epithets that as a matter of common knowledge are likely to provoke violence in response when directed at ordinary person. Now let me be clear. The law does not automatically treat every racial slur as fighting words in every situation. Courts look at the facts as, sitting the people, the people involved and whether the language is normal. But here's the thing, but culturally, Black Americans understood the line long before people start playing these legal games with it, okay? You call me the N-word if you want to. See, we knew the word wasn't just a word. The NAACP described the N-word as derogatory, degrading, dehumanizing, one of the most offensive words in history. You understand? But then something changed. What happened? What changed? With the influx of all these Black immigrants, you got some Black people wanting to be seen as the cool Black guy. The lines start getting blurry. Might type blurry in the chat room. You understand? A lot of you Black dudes wanted to let your Mexican girlfriend say it. Right? I know. And then some of y'all got a white homeboy. Y'all invited him to the cookout, so you let him say it. You just let him say it with the A at the end. Some wanted to act like it was just the music. They just saying the lyrics on the song. If they say it, why we can't say it? It's gangster rap. It's for everybody. I'm a big fan. It's just culture. It's just slang. It's just a vibe. But see, here's the thing. Once that door got cracked open, everybody started trying to walk through it. And that's how you end up with a whole bunch of people thinking it's cool to say the N-word that was never theirs to use in the first place. And that's why you see the rise of people like Chud the Builder, whose real name is Dalton Etherly. That live streamer that ended up in jail, got charged with shooting somebody. That's how you end up with somebody like Mexican Nick Fuentes. Right? The cool Black friend let him say it. And see, let me explain something to you all, you hard-headed folk. Black Americans understand something that you all don't. We understand white people. We understand if you give white people an inch racially, some of them, not all of them, they're gonna take a mile. Matter of fact, they're gonna take a whole marathon full of miles. And that's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition. That's why Black Americans had a hard line about who could use the N-word and who couldn't. We sang our songs, we used our language inside our community. But in the 1980s and 1990s, white people generally understood that if they said the word to the wrong black person in his face, it was going to be some immediate consequences. Somebody typed immediately in the chat room. Immediate. What you say is over. And then it's going to be followed out. Don't you ever call me. And that's it. They understood the boundary. Black people made white people understand that boundary. They may not have respected us, but they respected that line. And see, now we're in a situation where too many people, including a lot of Black immigrants, you come to this country thinking white people are just cool and that the N-word is just a word. Somebody type just a word, just a word. They don't understand the history. Your black behind don't understand where you are. They just stopped lynching people in the 50s before your mama and daddy got here from Jamaica and Canada, wherever you came from. They didn't understand why Black Americans are so strict about that. So they loosen the line. They loosen up the line. At first they start, well, I could just say that with the A at the end. I'm gonna just put the A at the, somebody put the tip in. Somebody say, I'm gonna just put the tip in. Let me just say that with the A at the end. It's cool, it's not the same. Remember that? We had that conversation. This is how they warmed up to it. I'm gonna just put the tip in, ladies. Ladies, it started out, let me just give me a massage. Is that how I start off? And then I'm gonna put the tip in? Somebody put the tip in the chat room. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. That's how you end up pregnant. That's how you got 2 baby daddies instead of 1. Tell the truth. Don't lie to me. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Put the tip in. Yeah, I know what you did. I know what you did. That's how they did the N-word. We just gonna put the A at the end. It's not the same. Next thing you know, you caught up. Now they got full-blown, the ER is rolling because they didn't understand the history. And that's what happened. That's what happened when you don't hold the line. If you don't check anti-Black racism early in white folk, it grows. It spreads like bacteria. If you don't correct disrespect when it starts, it spreads. If you don't punish it socially, politically, economically, culturally, and sometimes with a wallop upside the head, then people start disrespecting you openly. Like you gave permission. You see? And let's not stop pretending this is unique to Black people. Every white ethnic group has had slurs used against them. The Italians, Jewish people, Polish, Irish people, English people, Scottish people. Everybody has some racial slur or ethnic insult thrown at them. But the difference is that anti-Black racism sits at the center of American racial beliefs. Anti-Blackness is not a side project in this country. It is baked into the foundation. The history runs from slavery to racial terror, from legal segregation to housing discrimination, from racial policing to mass incarceration. That's why Black Americans have become hyper vigilant. That's why we can smell racism. That smells like, what is that? Is that Alabama? No, that's San Francisco liberal. We can smell it anyway. We know it. Our lives depended on figuring out what when somebody was being passive aggressive. What y'all call them, microaggressions? Huh? We knew if we didn't push back each and every time, the disrespect would grow. It would grow like a fungus between your big toe. You messed around and took a shower in that dorm room, bathroom, ladies, gentlemen, without your slippers on, and now you got fungus all on your feet. That's how racism grows. And that's it. That's why I'm trying to tell you the truth. And that's why Black Americans are so serious about language. It wasn't just because we were too emotional and we couldn't take a word. It was because we understood how America works. Racism is embedded in the American story. Look at the Constitution. It's as American as apple pie. It has shaped labor, housing, politics, policing, education, and wealth. It also shaped capitalism in this country because racial hierarchy has always been tied to who gets exploited and who gets paid, and who gets protected and who gets treated as disposable. And now you got a lot of these immigrants getting that wake-up call. Nigerian immigrants getting slapped around, Jamaicans getting sent home, Haitians catching hell. Somebody type TPS in the chat room. Ghanaians and all of everybody black that's an immigrant. Not only are they calling you the N-word in this country, you're being treated like N-words. And that's the part you didn't understand, did you? Y'all didn't get it, did you? No, you didn't. Y'all thought we was just making it up. We tried to told you, but you didn't want to hurt us. Right? We told you, but y'all was hard-headed. Somebody type hard-headed in the chat room. Y'all thought y'all could just come over here and separate yourselves from us lazy, shiftless Black Americans, look down on us and still avoid the weight of American racism. But see, America, once that system sees you as Black, your passport story won't always save you. Now, here's another point. White supremacists and people who want to use the N-word, they love to say, why are you so emotional? Isn't that what they say? You shouldn't get emotional about that word. How could you? They try to shame you after they use that word against you because they won't permit. That's what they try to do. They try to shame you and say you're overly emotional. Why would you let a word get you charged up like that? But see, here's my question, because it's a lot of stupid people on the internet. Somebody type stupid on the internet. Some stupid. You see, it's a bunch of stupid people on the internet by falling for that. And this is the problem that I have with unlearned, uneducated, unread people speaking to you all, which is often why I speak the way I do sometimes. Now, they call you emotional for responding. But here's my question. What made them so emotional in the first place that they wanted to call somebody a racial epithet? How angry did you have to allow yourself to get before you called a Black person, especially a Black man with bigger muscles than you and a reputation for whooping ass? How angry did you have to get to call that person an N-word to his face? That's emotions right there. You needed to calm down. You needed to control yourself. Whatever happened, it wasn't worth it, Todd. Don't act calm after you created the confrontation. You was emotional. You just transferred that emotion to me. You can't throw a racial grenade because you got upset and mad and angry and then criticize somebody for reacting to the explosion. Some people will say, oh, well, that's no reason to hit someone. Legally, that may be true. I'm not telling anybody to put hands, feet, elbows, big toes, small toes, heels. I'm not telling you to put nothing on nobody. But let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's get in tight. Let's get in tight. You didn't have a good reason to call that person the N-word either, did you? So if you want to talk about emotions, accountability, that has to go both ways. You don't get to provoke somebody with one of the most hateful racial slurs in American history, then act shocked when the situation turned ugly. You don't get to disrespect people and then pretend you're the only victim when the consequences show up. Shout out to B. Hunter. The lesson is simple. Black Americans weren't hyper-focused on race because we enjoyed it. You don't think we have? They say that cuts our lifespan down. We didn't do it because we liked it. You ever talk to your parent Your parent like yell. You just like yelling at me, mom. You just like yelling at me, dad. They don't like that. They do it to try to save your life. We don't enjoy being hyper-focused on race. We don't, that would be stupid. We're focused on race because America has forced us to be focused on race. We held the line, and I say held. We held the line because we knew what happens when the line disappears. And now, after years of people treating the N-word like a joke, like a lyric, like a social experiment, like a free speech game, we got people running around testing boundaries that they never should have touched in the first place. So no, Black Americans weren't wrong for being strict. We weren't wrong for being vigilant. We weren't wrong for saying, you don't get to call us that. And if you do, it's going to be consequences, immediate. We understood a lot of these Black immigrants are now learning in America. When you let anti-Black disrespect slide, when you participate in anti-Black American rhetoric, it don't stop with us. It escalates. And once it escalates, every Black person pays a price. You dig? You feel me? Are y'all listening? Are you learning something today? Huh? You should be learning a lot. You should be. I hope you are. Now I'm going to take the opportunity to read these super chats. I have some more to say. But I want to thank you good people. We haven't gone anywhere. All right. Have you guys subscribed to the channel? I hope you have. We got 21 super chats and a couple of Cash Apps. Shout out to the Cash App crew. Shout out to the Blizzard, the Ice Lord. Shout out to my wrench mob. If you got a wrench, hit the #1 button so I can see my wrench mob is in full effect. Everybody with a wrench, let me see you. Big shout out to, let's see who we got here. Estella, thank you so much. What a beautiful name. Thank you, Estella. Also, Johnny Johnson, thank you so much. Carlo Pena, thank you so much. Jeffrey Izzard, thank you. Patricia Hightower, good looking out, baby. Erlene, I like that name. Shout out to Erlene. Obadiah, MD Johnson, Perry Davis, Troy, David Johnson, Kareem, Mark Bronson. I can't say the brother's name, but it's an African name. Najilo Sionki, I can't say it, my bad, bro. AB, Perry, Roastmaster, Vernell Junius, good looking out. Thank you so much. We got 22 super chats. Let's read them and show respect to everybody who came through. Actually got a couple of memberships too. K8OSQ, good looking out, family. Thank you so much. I'm reading the Cash Apps. I'm always gonna get these Cash Apps a priority while I'm reading. So shout out to Perry. Thank you so much. Let's keep reading. Few Quam, I hope I'm saying the brother's name right. He always got the 5. He come through with the 5s, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, family, with the 5, with the super sticker again. Also, Big J 773. Now, when you ask them where they're from, they'll say either North or South Carolina, but can't elaborate any further. It's like they're trying to study our roots. Right? Yeah. You got a bunch of immigrants down in Selma, Alabama, marching. Like, really? Did y'all even know how do y'all get to Selma? Did y'all even know where Selma, Alabama was? But anyway, shout out to Curly Lock Shalom, y'all Blizzard King family, good looking out family. Fuquan, thank you so much again for the super sticker. You came through with 2. Storyteller 34, as usual, your commentary is on point. Good looking out, family. I appreciate y'all, man. Aaron Redding, Street Chronicle, FBA standing on business. Thank you so much. Super sticker, Fuquan, thank you. Yaya's Kids. Shout out to Yaya's Kids. We appreciate all you do. I didn't want to come here tonight. I'm be honest with y'all. I was tired. My stomach was hurting. It's been a long week. You know, Uncle D got a real job. Okay, I got a trial coming up in August. I got another case, 2 federal court cases coming up. So, you know, For about a month, I took about a month off just because I had like 6 motions for summary judgment to prepare. So I didn't want to come in tonight, but the Spirit told me I need to come talk to y'all tonight because it's a lot going on, and I don't want to get so far behind that I've missed certain things. It's been a lot of big topics that I hadn't been able to talk about just because I've been working, and it just, I kind of go with the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? If the Spirit tell me to come talk, I come talk to you all, even if I'm not feeling good. You know what I mean? But I've enjoyed this broadcast. I don't often know which direction they're gonna go in. I kind of just go with the spirit of it. So thank you so much, Yaya's kids. You guys keep me going too. I'll be honest with you. Between you all and my wife, if it wasn't for you all and my wife, I definitely wouldn't be doing it. I'd be somewhere chilling, smoking a cigar, maybe having a drink somewhere. So thank you so much. You guys, appreciate your dedication and love. Thank you. And let me see here. So shout out to, let's see, Zuuk, ZHUUKC. My brother, go home and build your third world country into a first world country. Why? Because you need to work harder like FBA done. Yeah, man, it's crazy. They come over here disrespecting Black Americans. It's like, y'all live in these horrible places. Don't come over here talking bad about us. Focus on your own thing. But anyway, Red Sigma. And they so insulting. Azoro, Nigeria, Grape Festival. Yeah, you guys got some issues, man. You have the nerve to talk about Black America. We don't even think about you all like that. Myron Magnus, grateful for effort. Keep our bloodline strong and not diluted. Good looking out. Also, FBA Lineage. Shout out to Estelle Law. Thank you so much. 7231 FBA Lineage. You can join. You can't join. You must be born into it. Thank you so much, baby. Who else we got? Big J came back through. He said, I know that you didn't want to say it, but let's not forget that most of their degrees are fraudulent anyway. I've heard about that too, family. And the thing is, man, I got a lot of Africans and Caribbean. I love them to death, man. But it's like, you all are being so disrespectful and you make our life harder because the racists will use the words that you say and they'll use it against us. They'll say, see a Black person, that's all they need. And that's just not cool, man. And you all need to check yourselves because you're causing us to lose ground, and Black people are resting. Black Americans are not on the front lines. Nothing you do has got us off the bench, has it? The most you're going to see them do is maybe some of us will go out and vote in the midterm. The next time you're going to see Black Americans mobilized for anything significant is going to be the 2028 election. Period. And if they don't have anybody we actually like, we're not going to show up for that either. That's what you all don't realize. It's on you now. The people who've been holding the line for the past 400 years, we are retired now. That's what's going on. We keep saying we rested, but for the most part, we are retired. We moved on. We're moving out. We're dying out. We're marrying out. The culture is still going to be there, but it ain't going to be us. Nigeria is going to take over Essence Festival and Juneteenth. It's going to be jollof rice and grape festivals instead of Juneteenth. That's what you're doing. Shout out to my man Myron Madden. Coretta Scott King wrote in her letter that the Senate in 1991 that the illegal immigration drops the wages for Americans so they know what they know what they're doing. You see what I mean? Because they don't care about poor people, Black or white. They bring the illegal immigrants in because they're less trouble and they work for free. I talked about that already. Essential entities, peace and blessings to the family. Salute. The truth, 100%. Drugs came into our communities uncomfortably after 1965 immigration. Need a study. They had a connection. You see what I'm saying? They sent their people up here, so they had a connection. Be the same thing that the Venezuelan gangs did. That's how they sent them up here, and they had a connection. They had boots on the ground, teaching the masses in real time. Thank you, B Hunter. Okay, let me see here. Quan came back with the $5 super sticker. Big J. Especially the Mexicans, they say the N-word more than Black people. Yeah, I mean, they got their whole, and we let it happen. Zook sucks, sounds suit. Zook sounds suit. Sounds, okay, it sounds like suit. Zook. Okay, thank you so much for that clarification, Zook. Suit. Mark the Freelance, always good to see you in here, brother. He says shield, crown, lion, swords. Blizzard King. All right, that's dope, bro. Appreciate you, family. Yeah. That's dope, man. Jessica Rabbit Dennis, love everything you do. I notice you don't collab anymore with Red Pill YouTubers. Why is that? Well, baby, it's not that. See, let me say this. I understand the Red Pill philosophy. I get what they're coming from. But clearly, as a married man who's been married once and is married again, okay, I don't subscribe to people, men especially, living alone for the rest of their lives. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think it's healthy. I don't want it for myself, and I don't want it for my sons. And it's not that I don't appreciate what they're saying. It's just like I don't necessarily agree with everything. I want people to be happy. I want them to find peace. Part of the reason that I am what I call a advocate for black men, because largely, shit, if you got a bunch of angry black men running around here, who are the first people they're going to take it out of? They're going to take it out on other black men. And I got 3 boys and myself. So, I get the rage. I get where they're angry, but, and I get what I hear it all. But you still, in my opinion, do you want to die with no children? Do you want to have no legacy? You got to adapt, you got to do what you got to do, whether it's whatever you feel is best for you. Passport, bro, go find your woman in another country. I think what's going to end up happening, you're going to realize that there's no emotional solution. There's no geographical solution for an emotional problem. If you're a simp here, you're going to be a simp over there. If you're getting taken advantage of here, you're going to get taken advantage of there. It's just going to be in another language. Women don't necessarily change. Now, they're different degrees. They have different power and different authority. The truth is, I've never had any issues with, other than the basics, I've never had any issues getting women, being with women, getting beautiful women to want to be with me. I just never had those issues. But I am empathetic to men, you see? But again, ladies, I know I'm 52 now, right? I know I'm 52, but you can look at me and say he was probably pretty handsome back in the day, 6'4". I can show you a little picture. I always show it sometime. I was a handsome young man back in the day. You see what I'm saying? And so this is me in my little young years. I'm 21 years old. About 215, 220 pounds, 6'4". I'm handsome. I've never had the issues. Of course, I'm from California, so I knew how to talk to the ladies real sweet. And women like me. Women always like me. The only time women don't like me is when I purposely do stuff to make them not like me. You understand? Well, it's funny. Like when I would break up with a girl and I didn't want her to linger around, I would do stuff to make her not like me. So she would literally break up with me. And what that did was it kept me from getting my tire slashed. And the other thing is I didn't cheat. I don't cheat. Didn't cheat on my girlfriends. I only dealt with one woman at a time. And there's a book called Casanova. It was about a famous lover. If you ever read the book Casanova, he only dealt with one woman at a time. Isn't that something? And he was considered one of the greatest lovers of all time, right? One woman, because you can't really, a lot of the issues that we have, because, and I don't want to get sidetracked because I don't give relationship advice, baby, Jessica. But, fidelity is an issue. You can't be out here telling women what to do if you messing around. I'm just saying, you can't do that. You can't be out here calling shots and you loose with the penis. See, so if you control that, you can control your penis. And I tell y'all this, I remember one time, I just, as an exercise, I decided to stop having sex for a year. And this is I'm at college. I'm at Grambling State University, surrounded by fine black women. And I just decided, and this is at the time I would fast. Sometimes I would fast for a week. I don't know if I fast. I think one time I fasted for, I don't know if it was 7 days or 10 days. I know I fasted for a long time. But I would fast, I would abstain just to practice self-control. Because I remember if you can control your sex drive and you can control your desire to eat food, then there's really not much more in your life that you can't control. You see, and this is back when I was 21, 21 years old at Grambling State University, surrounded by women. And I did that, you know, and I exercised, I lift weights, and it taught me some lifelong lessons about sacrifice and discipline, you see? And so that's another thing. Like, a lot of these young men grew up without fathers in their family, fathers that they could rely on. And so because of that, they're trying to go about dating and dealing with women based on their perception of what they think women want, based on what talk shows, chick flicks, something they heard their mama say. They have never had a successful black man who's been a successful man in general, who's had women who can tell them, hey, this is, you need to focus on you being you. Don't worry about what the women do. The women are going to show up. And I tell my sons all the time, the only woman you talk to is the most attractive woman in the room, period. That's who you talk to. Whatever that is you like, you see? And attractive, typically, you know, it's pretty stereotypical. This is what you like, that's what you like. And then from there, you realize, hey, I got something I want, and let me put all in and not cheat, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's not that I don't coordinate. I talk to people. You know, it's just like when I'm talking to you all and I get so heavily involved in these broadcasts and it lecture by lecture, I start in one place at the beginning and I end up somewhere else when I finish. I don't have time to have somebody else going back and forth and talking about topics. You know, if you deal with the public, you know, people, they'll come in with their own agenda. Okay, so that's why, baby. That's why, Jessica. But thank you so much. I'm long-winded. You know I'm long-winded. Somebody type Uncle D can talk. Long-winded. I know. My bad. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up because I want to get y'all up out of here. So again, now, you know, again, this topic is, you know, we told you so, didn't we? Told you so, right? All right. We told them so. Okay. And guess what they did? They let the, see, here's the thing I want to say. This is what y'all did. Y'all let the real white folks out the trick bag. Remember earlier I talked about this is racial, one of those racially politically charged time period. You let the real white folks out the bag. You let them off the hook. And we had them in the trick bag. Okay. See, for years, Black Americans told you how this country works, and y'all didn't listen. We told y'all how anti-Black racism works. Our leaders told you. We explained it to you in detail, right? You said what? It was exaggerating, right? That's what you told us. We told you how fast things could change when the wrong people got in power. We told y'all America's racial progress was never guaranteed. We went from Reconstruction to racial chaos and racial terror. We went from 55 years of building 600 some black towns around the country to the summer 1919 when white folks burnt it all down. Again, we told y'all America's racial progress was never guaranteed. It has not been a straight line. But to many immigrants, especially black ones, you didn't believe us. And too many of you all thought Black Americans were being dramatic. Too many of you all thought we were focused on race. Too many of you all thought white people were just misunderstood, or that racism was just something poor Black people use as an excuse. You heard the Black lady say that? You heard her say that? I've never heard successful Black people complain. It's just the poors. You heard her say it out of her own mouth. And now look what's happening. They're changing the laws. They're reporting people. They're getting people fired. They're ending programs. They're attacking diversity. They're challenging and doing away with affirmative action. They're becoming openly racist again. Not all white people. And I'm not throwing all white people in this, but it's enough. It's enough to change the temperature in the country. Isn't it? It's enough. See, the system is moving. And I'm not speaking emotionally. I'm talking about real legal and political changes. And now some of you all are trying to figure it out. If you're not afraid, you should be. Because you don't have the cover you thought you had. You thought you could separate yourself from Black Americans and still be protected by Black American struggle. You thought you could distance yourself from us socially and politically and culturally, but still run back under our umbrella when white supremacy started looking at you too hard. But now, when you get fired from your job, or you get discriminated against, your child gets discriminated against at the school, or the program disappears, or when the DEI office closes, when that affirmative action goes, when your diversity pipeline dries up, when somebody calls you the same slur that they call us, you're going to come running back to the Black community looking for protection. The Haitians did it. The Africans are doing it. Hell, the Mexicans and the Latinos tried to do it when ICE was coming for them hard. And they about to kick that back up. But see, to me, I guess the most foundational Black American, the first question is going to be simple, especially to Black immigrants. Yeah, I know you're Black, but where you from? You know that same question they ask us, where you from? You don't know where you from, right? And they're going to say, oh, I'm from, I don't know, I'm from California, North Carolina, I'm from Brooklyn. No, where you really from? See? Because a lot of you have a horrible things to say about Black Americans. Some of you call us lazy. Some of you call us criminals. Some of you said that we have no culture. Some of you told your children not to date our children or us. And some of you look down on us. And some of you separated yourselves from us until it was time to benefit from our civil rights history, diversity programs, and our other political struggles and cultural power. So why should Black Americans automatically jump to the aid of Nigerians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, hell, Ghanaians, Haitians, or anybody else who refuse to believe us? And that's why I started this conversation with the question, are you ready to talk yet? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not ready right now. But I guarantee you this, over the next 10 to 15, maybe 20 years, I think you will be. Because time is going to do what pride won't let you do right now. See, that accent is going to fade. And your children are going to intermarry, and your children are going to intermingle, and your grandchildren are going to grow up American. And some of those African last names are going to get shortened, changed, hidden, or dropped outright. Some people are going to adopt Americanized names just to move through this country easier. That Spanish accent, it's going to fade too. Those multiple last names, they're going to get shortened. And one day, the most some of your grandchildren will be able to say is, yeah, my grandmother was from Colombia, or my grandfather was from Nigeria, or my grandfather, his father was from Jamaica. But that won't really matter from there. That won't matter. Because see, at that point, they're going to be from Brooklyn. They're going to be from Cleveland. They're going to be from Houston. They're going to be from Atlanta. They're going to be from Chicago. They'll be Black in America like the rest of us. But by then, we may have already lost too much ground. And I say you all, because the foundational Black American population, the culture is shrinking. The birth rates are down. The errand of marriage is up. Admixture is changing the population. Immigration is changing the category. The Pew Research reported that Black immigrant populations reached 5.6 million in 2024, up from 2.4 million. Remember I said that? Remember that? And the Black American population birth rate is 1.5. That's not even replacement level. So the population is changing right in front of us. So if you don't listen now, you're going to have to start from the beginning. And later, you may not have the same tools we had. You definitely not going to have the same culture because you don't even understand the culture. To you, the culture doesn't even exist because you can't even see it, and we like it like that. That's one of the aspects of our culture. You can't even understand it because if you found out how to decipher the culture and what the culture was and what the culture was about, you would try to destroy it because you on the team with the white supremacists. You're not going to have the black colleges. You're not going to have the black churches. You're not going to have the black organizations we used to use to fight white supremacy. You're definitely not going to have DEI and affirmative action. You're not going to have the voting protection the same way we did. Your vote is going to be diluted. And all those things black Americans fought for could be weakened in one generation because you all didn't listen. Here's another thing. You all identify with immigrants more than you identify with blackness. That's the problem. The U.S. Bureau of Census has projected that the non-Hispanic white Americans will no longer make up the majority of the country beginning in 2045. They say by that time, non-Hispanic whites will be 49.7% of the population. And that type of demographic change is already creating a backlash. You think these white folk are going to take it lying down? You think they're not going to lash out? You think they don't want to make America whiter? Make America great again? And you going to be in the way of that? See, some of you all thought numbers alone would protect you. Numbers can also trigger fear and reaction and political attacks. So you all ready to listen now? Because inside the next 20 years, you're not just going to be dealing with one Nick Fuentes or one Chud the Builder. You're going to be dealing with a generation of people shaped by that kind of racial rhetoric and politics. Nick Fuentes has been widely described as a white nationalist, anti-Semitic figure, and his influence has become part of the larger public debate about openly extremist ideas moving into the mainstream political spaces. He is a known quantity, and that boy's young. Chud the Builder, live streamer, running around Tennessee, full of black folk, using racial slurs, daring anybody to do something about it. Yeah, he got charged. But see, the next Chud the Builder is going to be a lot smarter than that. My thing is this. Imagine that mindset spreading. Imagine those people aren't just on podcasts. Imagine they're not just street agitators. Imagine them being judges. Imagine them being politicians. Imagine them being congressmen. Imagine them being senators and CEOs. Imagine them being your child's school teacher or school board member. Imagine them being the police chiefs and prosecutors. Imagine them being your hiring manager. Imagine if these are the people who are going to decide whether your child gets into school, whether you keep a job, or whether your business gets a contract, and whether your neighborhood gets protected, or whether your vote counts. And that's what black Americans have been trying to warn you people about. White supremacy doesn't need to wear a hood anymore. It can wear a suit. It can sit in a board. It can write policy. It can run a company. It can sit on a bench. Hell, it controls the algorithm. It can call itself merit. It can call itself free speech. It can call itself anti-DEI. And it also can call itself law and order. And if you don't understand that, you're not ready for America. So I'm going to ask again. To all you Africans and Caribbeans, all you black immigrants, are you ready to listen yet? Because black Americans have been trying to tell you the truth. You didn't believe us. But time is going to prove it. This is Uncle D. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And as I always say at this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.